You know how you walk around every day, worry about work, school, or what to eat, but never once think, man, I hope I don't get eaten by a 50-foot naked humanoid today. Yeah, welcome to Attack on Titan, where that's basically everyone's daily fear. Today we're diving into the anime that broke the internet, crushed our emotions, and made us question humanity itself. That's right, Attack on Titan, created by Hajime Isayama. It started off as a manga in 2009, but things got real when the anime dropped in 2013 and didn't let us breathe until 2023. This is the story of Eren Yeager, a kid who just wanted freedom, but ended up challenging the entire world. Trapped behind 3 massive walls, humanity fights for survival against terrifying giants known as Titans. But what starts as a war for survival quickly becomes something way bigger and way darker. So sit back, grab your snacks, and maybe a stress ball, because this story, it's not for the faint of heart. Oh, and one more thing. Don't get attached to anyone. Seriously, you've been warned. Let's begin. Episode begins with chaos. Villagers frozen in fear as an enormous Titan hand grips the top of the wall. A voiceover sets the tone, revealing that this exact moment marks a turning point for everything to come. And soon, we understand just how true that is. Earlier that day, the Scout Regiment is beyond the wall, fighting Titans and striving to establish the first human outpost outside their fortified borders. Out of nowhere, a Titan appears. The Scouts don't hesitate. They activate their ODM gear, launching themselves through the trees with practiced speed, ready to strike. Meanwhile, within the safety of the walls, a young Eren Yeager jolts awake from a disturbing dream, tears streaming down his face. His adoptive sister, Mikasa Ackerman, notices and gently asks why he's crying. But Eren can't recall the dream, something you'll want to remember, because it'll matter later. As they walk home through the Shingeki district, Eren and Mikasa run into Hannes, a longtime family friend and soldier, along with a few of his comrades. Eren scolds them for drinking on duty, accusing them of being unprepared if disaster were to strike. But Hannes laughs it off, assuring Eren there's no need to worry. After all, no Titan is tall enough to breach the wall, and for the past century, nothing has happened to suggest otherwise. But Eren isn't having it. He's fed up with feeling like an animal trapped in a cage, confined by walls that limit his entire world. Dude, take a breath, seriously. On their walk home, Eren vents to Mikasa, telling her he's dead set on joining the Scout Regiment. He's desperate to see what lies beyond the walls. Mikasa is about to talk some sense into him, probably to remind him how dangerous that is. But before she can say a word, church bells start ringing. The Scouts have returned from their latest expedition. But instead of cheers and celebration, the town is met with heartbreak. The survivors are few, and the silence is heavy. A woman rushes forward, hoping to find her son among the returning soldiers. All she gets is his severed arm. She asks, through tears, if he at least died for a cause. The commander looks her in the eye and says they accomplished nothing, absolutely nothing. And just like that, the show punches us in the gut. We're only scratching the surface of how dark this gets. Onlookers begin to murmur, criticizing the Scout Regiment, calling them a waste of resources and taxpayer money. Eren, of course, can't stay quiet. He jabs at them with a stick, full of rage. But before things escalate, Mikasa yanks him away, pins him against a wall, and asks if he still wants this life, if he still wants to risk everything to join the Scouts. Eren doesn't answer directly. Instead, he just tells her to help him pick up the firewood. Back home, Dr. Yeager and Carla are in the kitchen, chatting while preparing to leave. He tells them he has to visit patients in the interior. And right then, Mikasa, ever the informant, casually spills the tea about Eren's desire to join the Scouts. Really, Mikasa? Snitches get stitches. Carla is furious, but Dr. Yeager has a different take. He believes curiosity shouldn't be crushed. Before leaving, he promises Eren that once he's back, he'll finally reveal what's hidden in their basement. After he's gone, Carla resumes the argument, trying to talk Eren out of this obsession. But he snaps at her and storms off. Carla turns to Mikasa, asking her to keep him safe. Mikasa, loyal as always, gives a silent nod. Eren runs off and soon spots his friend Armin Arlert getting bullied. Without thinking, he charges in to help. But surprisingly, the bullies don't run from Eren. It's Mikasa, trailing right behind him, that sends them fleeing. Armin explains that the kids were picking on him because, like Eren, he dreams of exploring the world outside the walls. Apparently, that's considered heresy around here. Seriously, life inside the walls kinda sucks. Eren then turns to Mikasa and calls her out for telling his parents. Armin sides with Eren, and together, they start to question everything. Is humanity truly safe within these towering barriers? And then, right on cue, boom! The ground trembles. The kids race to the edge of town, and what they see takes us full circle to the beginning of the episode. A colossal titan looming over the wall, its gaze locked straight onto them. Everyone is frozen. This titan isn't just making a cameo, it rears its massive leg back and kicks a gaping hole straight through the wall. The force of the impact sends debris flying like cannonballs. Houses crumble, people get crushed instantly. Chaos erupts. And then, the real horror begins. Dozens of grotesque titans start flooding in through the breach. The city that once felt safe is now a playground for monsters. Eren and Mikasa sprint through the smoke and screams, hoping, praying that their mom is okay. But this is Attack on Titan, remember? Hope doesn't last long here. As they round the corner, their home is gone, flattened. A massive boulder now rests where it once stood, and under it is Carla, their mother, pinned and bleeding. Eren and Mikasa desperately try to pull her out, but stop when they spot more titans looming in the distance. Just the sight of them is enough to make your blood freeze. Carla knows what's coming. She tells them to run. Her legs are crushed. She can't escape, even if they free her. But Eren refuses. He's crying, shouting that he'll carry her. And in one of the most heartbreaking moments in the series, Carla asks, "Why won't you ever just listen to me?" Then the Titan appears, and it's close. Just as all seems lost, boom, Hannes shows up. Their family friend, a soldier, a hero. Carla begs him to take the kids and run. But Hannes says no, he's going to fight. You think, okay, here comes the save, until Hannes gets a good look at the Titan, and he freezes. Every ounce of bravery drains from his face. This isn't a fight he can win. He grabs Eren and Mikasa and runs. As they flee, Carla quietly thanks him, but then puts a trembling hand over her mouth. Her eyes silently plead, "Don't leave me." But it's too late. Eren, powerless and horrified, watches as the Titan lifts his mother from the rubble and devours her. Her blood paints the ground. His screams are the only thing left behind, and that was just episode 1. Episode 2 opens with the aftermath. Corpses everywhere, crows picking at the dead. A religious zealot is preaching about divine punishment, right before a Titan casually snatches him mid-sermon. Irony hits hard in this world. Meanwhile, Eren unleashes his grief and rage on Hannes, yelling that they could have saved her. But Hannes doesn't sugarcoat it. He admits the truth. He ran because he was afraid. And honestly, who wouldn't be? On a crowded refugee ship, Armin searches through the masses, eyes scanning desperately for his friends. He spots Eren and Mikasa, but the look on their faces says it all. There's no joy in this reunion, just shared trauma. At the gates, soldiers are scrambling to get survivors to safety. But there's a brutal debate. Do they close the gate now to protect the inner city, or risk more lives trying to save the rest? That's the cruel world they live in now, where every second, every decision carries life or death consequences. Suddenly, the ground starts rumbling. Everyone turns to see a Titan, but not just any Titan. This one's covered in armor. It charges toward the gate of Wall Rose like a living battering ram. The soldiers panic and slam the gate shut, but it doesn't matter. With one deafening crash, the armored Titan obliterates the gate and smashes through the wall like it's made of paper. Eren watches in complete horror, eyes wide, soul shattered. In that moment, something breaks inside him. There's no going home now. Nothing left to protect, just fire and rage. And right there, he makes the vow. I'll kill every last Titan. I'll free humanity. And just like that, the story really begins. Meanwhile, Eren's father, Grisha, is desperately making his way back, praying that his family is alive. But Eren, now displaced, traumatized and dreaming, sees something strange. A vision of his father injecting him with a syringe and handing him a key. That key. Eren jolts awake, sweaty and confused. Mikasa and Armin are there, and around Eren's neck is the key from his dream. Weird. Very weird. They go to get food rations, only to hear soldiers mocking the refugees from Wall Maria, blaming them for the food shortage. Humanity now lives behind 3 walls. Wall Maria, the outermost, Wall Rose and Wall Sina, where the elite live. Wall Maria is for the poor. Eren loses it and attacks the soldiers for disrespecting the people who lost everything. But Armin quickly jumps in, apologizes, and de-escalates. He saves Eren from getting pummeled. Eren, still seething, calls Armin a coward, but Mikasa shuts that down fast, with a slap to the face and a harsh truth. Survival is all that matters right now. Then she casually stuffs her face with bread like nothing happened. The royal government tries to solve the food shortage by forcing refugees to farm. It barely helps. So, in a moment of pure cruelty masked as strategy, they launch a military operation using refugees to retake Wall Maria. It's a bloodbath. Out of 250 people sent, only 100 return. After this nightmare, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin decide they're done being helpless. They apply to join the military. 1 year later, they're part of the 104th Cadet Corps, a new generation of hopefuls, dreaming of fighting titans. Episode 3 kicks off with Keith Shadis, the commander of the 104th, going full drill sergeant. He gives every single recruit the full metal jacket treatment, yelling in their faces, questioning their existence, and trying to break them down. But there are exceptions. Mikasa, Annie, Ymir, Bertholdt, and Eren, all survivors of Wall Maria, get a pass. They've already seen hell. No need to simulate it. Armin, though? Yeah, he still gets the smoke. He's too nice, too soft, and Keith shows no mercy. Then we get the moment. Keith stops in front of Sasha Brous, who's just casually munching on a stolen potato. Yes, a whole potato. In the middle of training. He's stunned. He asks her what she's doing. She replies, dead serious. It was warm, and I was hungry. And with that, the potato girl is born. Later on, Eren, Armin, Marco Bot, Connie Springer, and Mina Carolina sit and watch Sasha get her well-deserved punishment, running non-stop until she physically can't anymore. Classic Sasha move. Marco turns to Eren, curious about how he's staying so composed, and Eren calmly reveals he's from Shiganshina. That hits everyone hard. Suddenly, they start bombarding him with questions about the colossal titan. The flood of memories makes Eren nauseous, clearly shaken. Sensing this, Marco tells the group to ease up, but Eren insists he's okay. Instead, he channels that pain into purpose, declaring he'll join the scout regiment and wipe out every single titan. Before he can finish, John Kirstein butts in, scoffing at Eren's plan. Eren isn't impressed with John's dream either, joining the military police to live safely inside the inner walls. Tension builds as the two march toward each other, but thankfully, John apologizes, and Eren follows suit. Crisis averted. As the group disperses, John catches a glimpse of Mikasa and is instantly smitten. He nervously tries to strike up a conversation, but only manages to blurt out a compliment about her hair. Relatable. Mikasa gives a polite nod, and as Jean follows her outside, he sees her with Eren, and just like that, his mood plummets. Meanwhile, Sasha finally collapses to the ground, probably seconds away from passing out, until the smell of food hits her nose. Krista Lentz, one of the cadets, has brought her bread. Sasha treats her like an angel, while another cadet, Ymir, looks on, clearly unimpressed. Sasha devours the bread in record time and immediately knocks out, which is exactly what I'm about to do after finishing this recap. The following day, the trainees begin their ODM gear training. You know, the epic aerial gear the soldiers use to fight titans. Eren, however, completely flops at it. Mikasa and Armin, on the other hand, ace it with ease. Determined to improve, Eren gets coaching from the two, but still can't get the hang of it. During dinner, Mikasa gently suggests he give up on becoming a soldier, but Eren isn't ready to back down. He abruptly walks off mid-meal. Desperate, Eren seeks help from others, but nothing clicks. Eventually, he approaches Reiner Braun and Berthold Hoover. At first, they're hesitant, but after bonding over their traumatic experiences with Titans, the three take a walk late into the night. Reiner and Berthold offer advice, and a genuine friendship begins to blossom. The next day, it's Eren's final shot to prove himself with ODM gear. Eren finally manages to stay balanced on the ODM gear, and the whole group erupts into cheers. But just when it seems like he's nailed it, he crashes again. The mood drops instantly. That is, until Instructor Shadis tells him to switch equipment with another cadet. This time, Eren balances perfectly. Turns out, the gear Eren had been training with was defective all along. The truth is, he's actually got real talent. Shadis, who happens to be an old acquaintance of Eren's father, had secretly been worried for him. He didn't want to see the son of his friend get himself killed out there. But in the end, even he had to respect Eren's unshakable determination. Episode 4 opens with a 2-year time skip. Just like that. The cadets of the 104th Corps are now seen jogging through the woods, hauling heavy packs as part of their training. Armin is struggling to keep up, and Shadis is practically foaming at the mouth, yelling at him. That's when Reiner steps in and takes Armin's bag, showing some serious team spirit. Later on, they're training in hand-to-hand combat. Eren's clearly frustrated. He doesn't see the point of it. But Reiner explains that, as soldiers, they need to be ready for any situation, not just Titans. When Annie is caught slacking off, Reiner pairs her up with Eren, and she completely wrecks him. Then she takes on Reiner and does the same. Eren's blown away by her fighting skills, but Annie couldn't care less. She points out how twisted it is that the top 10 cadets, the ones best suited to fight Titans, are the only ones allowed into the cushy interior with the military police. She's not about to die for anyone outside those walls. During dinner, Eren throws shade at Jean for wanting to join the military police, sparking yet another near fight. Mikasa steps in to cool things off, but Jean's jealousy flares up. He grabs Eren by the collar, only to get flipped on his back using the very same technique Annie just taught Eren. Eren tells him straight up, he's not worthy of being called a soldier. When Shadis comes in demanding to know what the noise was, Mikasa casually saves the moment by saying, "Sasha farted." Absolute comedic gold. Soon after, the top 10 graduates eligible to apply for the military police are announced. Krista Lentz, Sasha Braus, Connie Springer, Marco Bott, Jean Kirstein, Eren Yeager, Annie Leonhardt, Bertolt Hoover, Reiner Braun, and at the top of the class, Mikasa Ackerman. As everyone celebrates their hard-earned success, Thomas Wagner questions Eren's choice to join the scout regiment. But Eren stands firm. He says abandoning the memories and sacrifices of those who died would be the real betrayal. He storms off, but not alone. Mikasa and Armin chase after him, vowing to join the scout regiment by his side. Eren tries to stop them, Armin and Mikasa, from joining the scouts. Bit hypocritical, isn't it? But Armin is driven by the hope of saving humanity, and Mikasa, well, she'll follow Eren to the ends of the earth. As they leave through Trost District, a massive crowd gathers to witness the return of the scout regiment, and leading them, Commander Erwin Smith, Captain Levi, and Section Commander Hangazoe. Remember those names? They're going to become legends. The newly graduated soldiers run into Hannes, now a captain. He congratulates them, but there's something lingering in his voice. Regret. He apologizes to Eren for not saving his mother 5 years ago. But Eren simply says, "It wasn't your fault." Hannes is speechless. Up on the wall, the cadets are setting up cannons, joking around, spirits high, some even inspired by Eren's fiery resolve to join the scouts. For a moment, it actually feels like humanity is reclaiming its dignity. Eren looks out over the city with hope in his eyes. And then, a sudden flash of yellow lightning behind him, and the colossal titan reappears. Just like that. The force of its arrival blasts the cadets off the wall. But Eren recovers, 5 years since that day, and now, he's face to face with the monster that killed his mother. Episode 5 opens with Eren charging the colossal titan. It swipes at him, taking out the cannons in one swing. This titan, it's smart. Eren lunges again, but it releases a burst of steam so powerful it throws him back. When he regains control and strikes again, he hits nothing but air. The titan is gone. Meanwhile, chaos erupts as titans flood through the breach. The soldiers engage, desperate to stop history from repeating itself. Elsewhere, Commander Pixis is casually playing chess with Lord Wald when he receives the news. Trostgate has fallen. Pixis immediately heads for battle, despite Lord Wald's panicked pleas. Let's just say, Pixis isn't exactly a by-the-book kind of guy. Back in Trost, Captain Worman scrambles to divide the cadets into squads. Panic spreads like wildfire, because who wouldn't panic in front of giant man-eating monsters? Jean's not scared, he's angry. He was 1 day away from getting into the military police. 1 day. He bumps into Eren, who tries to rally him. "We made it through training, we'll make it through this." Jean doesn't argue. For now, they're friends. Kinda wholesome, really. Mikasa tells Eren to find her if things go south. That girl is pure steel. But she's quickly interrupted by Ian Dietrich, who assigns her to the rear guard. She tries to protest, but Eren snaps. "No one cares what you want. Humanity's survival is what matters." He's harsh, but he's focused. Before they part ways, Mikasa quietly says, "Don't die." Heavy words. Eren and Armin wait for orders, flashes of Titan lectures replaying in Eren's mind. How they devour humans just because. And the only way to kill them? A clean strike to the nape of the neck. Eren's fired up. This is his shot to prove himself, maybe even get promoted. But that fire fades instantly when a Titan devours Thomas, right in front of him. Eren loses it. He launches at the Titan, only to have his leg bitten clean off midair. He crashes to the ground, helpless. One by one, his comrades fall. And Armin? He's frozen, paralyzed. A Titan looms over him, grabs him. He's helpless. He can't even scream. He's just seconds from being devoured when Eren bursts in, wedging his blade between the Titan's jaws to yank Armin out. Eren reassures him, reminding Armin of the promise they made to see the world beyond the walls. Armin tries to pull him to safety, but the Titan clamps down, severing Eren's left arm and swallowing him whole, leaving Armin screaming in horror. Just like that, our main character is gone. So, what now? Episode 6 opens with Connie snapping Armin out of a PTSD daze. He demands to know where the rest of Armin's squad is, but Ymir coldly points out what's already clear. They're dead. And the only one who made it back is the coward in front of them. Brutal. Connie's ready to throw hands, but Krista steps in and diffuses the tension. In the aftermath, Armin is crushed by guilt. He's convinced he's useless, that Eren and Mikasa probably think the same. He figures it's better to disappear than be a burden. Then he spots a fellow cadet, desperately trying to revive her dead boyfriend. Armin, numb and detached, just mutters that he's gone. Meanwhile, at the base of Wall Rose, a bottleneck forms, as evacuees are halted by a selfish merchant, guarding his massive cart of goods. He claims the value of his cargo outweighs their lives. That's when a little girl spots a Titan charging toward them, until Mikasa slices it down effortlessly. She storms up to the merchant and coldly threatens to kill him if he doesn't move. Yeah, he moves. The girl and her mother thank Mikasa, who simply salutes. But this moment triggers a flashback, back to a time when Mikasa lived a peaceful life with her parents. One day, Dr. Yeager and Eren came to visit, only to find the parents murdered and Mikasa kidnapped. While Dr. Yeager alerted the authorities, Eren, being Eren, tracked the kidnappers himself. He lured two in by pretending to be lost, then killed them. But the third attacker grabbed Eren and began choking him to death, until Mikasa stepped in and killed the man without hesitation. When the authorities arrived, they were stunned by what the children had done. Dr. Yeager scolded Eren for his recklessness, but Eren simply said he had to save Mikasa. Lost, broken, and without a home, Mikasa didn't know where to turn, until Eren wrapped his scarf around her and told her she could live with them. It's the same scarf she still wears to this day. Back in the present, the soldiers finally retreat, but Mikasa stays to support the vanguard. She recalls the family she has now, and how, together with Eren, she can survive anything. Yeah, someone should really tell her the truth. Episode 7 begins with Mikasa arriving just in time to see Titans attacking the HQ. Critical for supplying ODM gear fuel. Everyone's running low on gas. So, how are things going inside HQ? Yeah, not great. Outside, Connie urges Jean to head there. It's better than dying here. Sasha volunteers to lead, but most of the group is paralyzed by fear. Only Annie, Reiner, Bertolt, and Marco are still composed. Then Mikasa shows up and demands to know where Eren is. Armin panics, and with just one look, she realizes the truth. She tells him to get it together. This is no time to fall apart. She announces she's heading to HQ. The others protest. It's a suicide mission. But Mikasa fires back, calling them cowards for giving up so easily. Tough words, especially coming from a fellow soldier. But her fearless resolve inspires John, who finally finds his voice and rallies the group behind her, leading to one of the most badass moments in the entire show. Mikasa charges ahead, slicing through Titans with relentless fury. But Armin notices something's off. She's burning through her gas too fast. She's not just fighting, she's venting her grief on the battlefield. It catches up to her quickly. Her gas runs out midair and she plummets. Connie rushes to help, yelling for Jean to take the lead. Meanwhile, Mikasa hits the ground and finally feels the weight of her loss. She's lost her family all over again. As a Titan closes in, she falls to her knees, reflecting on everything. Even in this cruel world, she had a life worth living with Eren. Accepting her fate, she braces for death. But in a sudden surge of resolve, she slices the Titan's finger and dodges at the last second. She remembers Eren's words, "Keep fighting," and realizes she still wants to live. Another Titan blocks her path, but if she's going out, she'll go out swinging. She screams in defiance. Then something crazy happens. She's saved by that second Titan. It attacks the first one. Mikasa is frozen in disbelief. Armin, of all people, swoops in to save her. Connie checks if they're all right, and then they all witness something wild. This new Titan starts wrecking its own kind. It takes a human stance and punches another Titan's head clean off like it's nothing. It keeps going, hunting down Titans. Armin gives Mikasa his spare gas, and they decide to regroup at HQ to refuel and fight back. Armin, however, secretly considers sacrificing himself. Mikasa shuts that idea down immediately. They're going to survive. Together. Episode 8 picks up right where we left off. Armin forms a plan. Lead the Rogue Titan to HQ so it can clear out the enemies and open a path. Most of them make it, crashing through a window into the building. Jean sees the supply team hiding inside and loses it. Furious, they abandoned everyone. But there's no time to argue. Titans break in and panic erupts. Jean's hope begins to crack. Can humanity ever win? Then, like fate heard him, a giant fist crashes through the wall. It's the Rogue Titan again, annihilating the invaders at HQ. Mikasa, Armin, and Connie finally reach HQ. Mikasa explains the Rogue Titan isn't like the others. It's fighting for them. Cut to a montage of it going absolutely berserk on the Titans. While it creates a diversion, the cadets take the lift to the basement to reach the supply room. Armin comes up with a strategy to deal with the smaller Titans down there. He may not be the strongest, but he always has a plan. They divide roles. Some distract with firearms while the stronger ones strike from behind. The execution isn't flawless, but it works. The squad refuels and prepares to return to the wall. Outside, Mikasa watches the Rogue Titan now getting overwhelmed. It's being eaten alive. Jean says they should leave it, but Reiner and Annie argue. It could be a valuable ally. While they debate, the Titan eliminates the last enemies, lets out a final roar, and collapses. Everyone assumes it's dead, until a figure starts emerging from its nape. It's Eren. Yeah, they really had you thinking he was gone, didn't they? Mikasa rushes to him, crying as she embraces him, and the rest of the squad stands in stunned silence. Episode 9 kicks off with a flashback from earlier that morning, as the Scout Regiment sets out on a new expedition. We're reintroduced to some of the series' key figures. Commander Erwin, the calm and calculated strategist who never lets emotion cloud his judgment. Section Commander Hanji Zoe, a brilliant yet borderline unhinged woman whose obsession with Titans borders on manic curiosity. And finally, Captain Levi, the quiet, deadly powerhouse who also happens to be obsessed with cleanliness. We quickly learn just how terrifying the Titans are. Despite the elite skill of these soldiers, they still face a brutal 30% casualty rate on missions. And yet, Levi stands out as a one-man army, effortlessly slicing through 3 Titans before taking a moment to comfort a dying comrade. But the moment is cut short. Commander Erwin announces that all known Titans are converging to the north, a red flag signaling something has gone horribly wrong back at the wall. The squad wastes no time, racing to return. Meanwhile, we shift back to Eren's perspective, trapped inside the belly of a Titan. He regains consciousness surrounded by the remains of devoured comrades. It's disturbing and tragic. While reflecting on how his training failed him, he raises his severed arm toward the Titan's throat and swears vengeance. That's when an explosion rips through the Titan's mouth. Eren has transformed into one himself. Disoriented, he reawakens, repeating one phrase over and over. "I'll kill them all." Armin watches in horror. His reaction is both tragic and a little darkly comedic. Elsewhere, the garrison soldiers are panicking. Everyone just witnessed Eren emerge from a Titan. Everyone except Eren, who has no recollection of it. The officer lays it out. If Eren makes any suspicious move or says something weird, they'll fire the cannon. Oh, and Mikasa and Armin? They're probably facing treason charges too. Harsh? Maybe. But hey, they take threats seriously. The captain asks Eren a direct question. Are you human or Titan? Eren is confused. So the captain explains. Multiple witnesses saw him come out of a Titan. He's about to pull the trigger, and Mikasa threatens him right back. Eren insists he's human, but the captain isn't buying it and fires the cannon. Just before impact, Eren recalls something his father once told him. His memories would guide him. Without thinking, he bites his hand, partially transforming and forming a Titan shell around himself and his friends, shielding them from the blast. What a moment. Episode 10 picks up inside the walls. Tension is at an all-time high. Daz is overwhelmed by the horror of watching his friends die and nearly takes his own life. Marco stops him, reminding us what real friendship looks like. Sasha, naturally, is dealing with a stomachache in the midst of all the chaos. Meanwhile, John, Krista, and Ymir try to figure out where Eren and Mikasa are without alarming the rest of the group. Suddenly, the sound of a cannon echoes through wall rows. Everyone rushes to investigate. Beneath the half-formed shell of Eren's Titan body, Mikasa and Armin watch as Eren regains consciousness and emerges. He's got a plan. Use his Titan powers to return to his childhood home in Wall Maria. He believes the basement holds the truth about the Titans. But after butting heads with Mikasa, he considers another approach. Have Armin convince the garrison that Eren might be humanity's best hope. Unfortunately, The garrison captain isn't exactly open to negotiation. He's ready to eliminate them. That is, until Commander Pixis shows up. Unlike the others, Pixis sees potential in Eren and proposes using his abilities rather than destroying him. Looks like someone finally brought logic to the table, and he's got a strategy in mind. To seal the breach in the wall, the plan is simple. Use a giant boulder. But there's a problem. Eren's not exactly confident in his ability to control his Titan form. He's only done it once, maybe 1.5 times, if we're being generous. Still, when he realizes what's at stake, he agrees to go through with it. Now we're in episode 11. It opens up on top of the wall, where Pixis is laying out the strategy to Eren and Armin. Eren's fired up, ready to dive in. Armin? Not so much. He thinks the plan is way too optimistic. Classic Armin, always the cautious one. Eren, though, puts his trust in Pixis, which is a bold move considering they just met. Meanwhile, word of the operation spreads to the other soldiers, and unsurprisingly, morale is in the gutter. Daz is in full panic mode again, and honestly, who can blame him? Things look pretty grim. Back at the top of the wall, Pixis shares an old tale with Eren, a legend that says humanity stopped fighting amongst itself when faced with a greater enemy. Eren calls it nonsense, and Pixis actually agrees, laughing it off. As they walk the length of the wall, they pass Hannes and his squad, and Pixis casually takes a swig from his flask. He's clearly used to the taste, even offers some to Eren. Then, standing before the troops, Pixis makes the announcement. The plan to retake Trost is officially in motion. They'll use Eren, introduced as a scientific anomaly who can shift into a Titan and supposedly control it. Not exactly the truth, but close enough. Armin outlines the details. Titans are drawn to crowds, so the idea is to gather soldiers at one end of the district to draw them in. Then, from atop the wall, they'll hit the Titans with a barrage of cannon fire. While that's happening, Eren's Titan, flanked by an elite guard, will grab the boulder and head for the breach to seal it up. The reaction from the troops? Pretty much what you'd expect from people being asked to walk straight into death. They're furious. Some say they'd rather be with their loved ones during their final moments. Captain Warman threatens execution for deserters, but Pixis shuts that down. He says anyone who leaves will be pardoned. But then he hits them with a harsh truth. If they walk away, they're leaving their families to face the same nightmare. That sobering thought convinces them to stay. Then, Pixis drops a bombshell. The supposed mission to reclaim Wall Maria 4 years ago? It wasn't about taking land back. It was population control. The government sacrificed lives to preserve the species. Brutal. Only 20% died that time. But if Wall Rose falls, there's only Wall Sina left. And then, only half of humanity makes it. That's why this mission can't fail. Pixis assigns Ian Dietrich, Rico Brzezinska, and Matabi Jarnak to protect Eren during the operation. They're not sold on the plan, but Pixis manages to get them on board, placing Ian in command. Meanwhile, Armin, being Armin, starts apologizing to Eren. Eren reassures him, reminding him he's a genius and that he trusts him. Then Mikasa steps in, insisting she wants to be on Eren's guard team. Eren pushes back, saying she's needed in the decoy squad, but Ian ends up pulling rank and adds her to the defense unit anyway. Before heading out, Eren and Armin exchange what might be their most important words. Don't die. That's real friendship right there. Pixis addresses the troops again, telling them this could be humanity's first true win against the Titans. Honestly, kind of wild that we're this deep in and still waiting on a W. Feels like a bit of a skill issue. Anyway, Eren and his squad make it to the boulder. He bites into his hand, and boom, Titan transformation. And I gotta say, it looks absolutely badass. As Eren walks toward the massive stone, Mikasa clings to hope, believing he'll be the one to save them all. But this is Attack on Titan. Things never go as planned. Instead of lifting the boulder, Eren turns and attacks Mikasa. Just perfect. His Titan form is out of control. Episode 12 kicks off with the bait and lure strategy to draw Titans to the far end of Trost still in motion. Even though the soldiers try to avoid direct clashes, around 20% of them end up dying, losses that Pixis takes full responsibility for. Honestly, this guy's leadership is so solid, I'd follow him into battle any day. Meanwhile, Mikasa is narrowly dodging Eren's blows, as the elite squad debates whether it's time to give up on him. Mikasa climbs onto Eren's face trying to snap him out of it, only for him to land a punch on himself. Yeah, real productive. When a red signal flare shoots into the sky, Armin decides to rush to Eren. Another soldier urges Pixis to abandon the mission, but Pixis sticks by the elite team's judgment. Matabi, however, makes the call to retreat. Mikasa's furious, but Ian tells everyone to focus. They're now surrounded by Titans. The debate over retreating continues, but in the end, the squad sticks to the original plan. Mikasa thanks Ian, who casually tells her to protect her special someone, making her visibly flustered. When Mikasa notices Eren's wounds aren't regenerating, panic sets in. Inside his Titan, Eren's only half aware, lost in fragmented memories of Mikasa and his family. Things aren't looking good. Armin arrives and sees Eren's Titan battered and broken. Meanwhile, Jean, Connie, and Annie work to lure Titans away. Back with the elite squad, Mikasa rescues Matabi from a Titan, only to realize Eren's unintentionally attracting even more Titans their way. Seriously, not helping. Armin finally catches up and asks what's going on. After hearing the situation, he takes drastic action, stabbing Eren in the nape, trying to reach the real him. The blade hits Armin's arm, and Eren remains barely conscious, unable to process his words. While the team continues to fend off Titans, Connie and Annie make it back to the wall, but Jean's gear malfunctions. He takes refuge inside a building and spots a fallen soldier with functioning gear. As he tries to retrieve it, a Titan closes in, but Annie, Connie, and Marco swoop in just in time to create a diversion, letting Jean escape and get his gear back online. Then, the ground trembles. Everyone turns to see Eren, now fully in control, lifting the boulder and walking toward the wall. Shocked, the elite squad and Mikasa look on. Armin rushes over and confirms that Eren's regained control. Now, it's all hands on deck to ensure he makes it. The entire squad, including Matabi, rallies to defend Eren's path. Even Annie, Connie, and Jean join the effort from atop the wall. As Eren presses forward with the stone, the soldiers buy him time by throwing themselves into battle. Many fall, including Matabi. Eren continues, undeterred, inching closer to the wall while chaos erupts around him. More soldiers perish, eaten, or crushed, while Mikasa and Armin witness Ian sacrifice himself to save a fellow soldier. Rico swoops in, slashing a Titan's eye, and Mikasa finishes the job. With Armin shouting encouragement, Eren finally reaches the breach and seals it with the boulder. Tears welling in her eyes, Rico declares that their fallen comrades didn't perish for nothing. She fires a yellow flare into the sky, signaling their victory. The moment Pixis sees it, he wastes no time. Reinforcements are dispatched to aid the elite squad. Rico insists they must return to the wall, but Mikasa rushes to Eren's side to pull him out of his Titan form. Rico joins in and slices him free. Just then, two Titans ambush them out of nowhere, but before they can react, both Titans are swiftly taken down by a soldier donning the wings of freedom. It's none other than Captain Levi, who immediately asks for a status update. With both the garrison and the scout regiment in motion, Titans are being wiped out. After a full day of brutal combat, Trost is finally cleared. Even better, they manage to capture two Titans alive. But the victory comes at a heavy cost. The battlefield is littered with casualties, an inevitable toll in war. In the grim aftermath, Jean walks among the corpses, and to his absolute horror, ours too, he finds Marco's lifeless body, another soul lost in the chaos. Like I said before, don't get too attached in this world. Meanwhile, Eren wakes up confined in an underground military prison. He's greeted by none other than Erwin Smith and Levi Ackerman. Now that I think about it, Mikasa's an Ackerman too, right? That's something. Anyway, the two begin questioning him about his motives, the mysterious basement, and the key he carries. Eren spills everything he knows and declares his intention to join the scout regiment and exterminate every single Titan. Levi agrees to take him in, not out of trust, but so he can end him if things go sideways. Brutal. Episode 14 picks up with Eren still locked up, while news of a Titan fighting alongside humans spreads like wildfire. Inside Wall Sina, the public is more concerned about refugee influx than salvation. They're furious over the rumors. On the other hand, the citizens of Wall Rose hail Eren as a hero, their last hope. Meanwhile, Niall Dock, head of the military police, insists Eren must be eliminated. There's no way those wildcards in the scout regiment can be allowed to keep him. Niall and his officers stand at attention as the supreme leader of the three military branches, Dallas Zachary, arrives to oversee the trial. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention? Eren's fate is about to be decided in court. Yup, this show's diving deep into politics now. On top of the wall, Erwin and Pixis talk things through. Pixis explains that Zachary will make the final judgment and that he tends to base decisions on what benefits humanity most. Erwin admits he's not confident they'll win the trial, but he has a plan, though it hinges on how things unfold. Back underground, Hanga Zoe and Mike Zacharias escort Eren from his cell. Hanga gives him a few kind words before he's brought into a courtroom filled with military authority. Zachary opens the session, stating that hiding Eren is no longer an option. They must reveal him to the public to avoid civil unrest. Niall, ever the skeptic, pushes for Eren's immediate execution. Not surprising. Then out of nowhere, Pastor Nick jumps in, demanding the same. Seriously? Erwin steps forward and counters with his own proposal. Recruit Eren into the scout regiment and launch a mission to reclaim Wall Maria. Since Trost's main gate is sealed, they'll take an alternate path. A merchant suggests sealing all entrances to block the colossal titan entirely, but Levi calls out the selfishness. Clearly the merchants are just protecting their business. That sets off Pastor Nick again. But Armin steps up, pointing out that people like Nick are why weapons weren't installed on the walls sooner. As the room erupts in arguments, Zachary finally restores order and turns to Eren. He asks if Eren still wants to fight as a soldier for humanity. Eren doesn't hesitate. He says yes. Zachary then addresses a serious concern. Eren lost control and attacked Mikasa during his transformation in Trost. Mikasa pauses for a moment before confirming it's true. However, she quickly adds that Eren also saved her life twice while in his Titan form. Niall seizes the moment to bring up a dark piece of their childhood, the time when Eren and Mikasa killed 3 robbers. This revelation stirs tension in the courtroom, casting doubt on Mikasa's humanity. Eren snaps back, fiercely defending her and accusing the court of distorting the truth. He boldly declares that if they're too afraid to take action themselves, they should at least let him fight in their place. Just then, Niall commands a soldier to point his weapon at Eren, but Levi suddenly steps in and beats Eren to the ground, brutally, even knocking out one of his teeth. Mikasa's visibly furious, but Levi makes his case. If Eren ever loses control, he's the only one capable of stopping him. Erwin proposes a field mission to see whether Eren is truly a danger or a potential savior. Zachary agrees, and just like that, Eren survives the trial. Afterward, Erwin offers an apology, explaining that the beating was all part of a calculated strategy to sway the court's decision. While sitting beside Eren, Levi asks if he resents him for the harsh treatment, but Eren gets it. He knows it had to be done. Hanji, however, thinks Levi may have gone a little overboard. She's especially surprised when Eren's knocked-out tooth grows back almost instantly. That's when Eren officially joins the scout regiment. The squad heads to an old rundown castle that now serves as their base. Levi's elite team is given a clear order. If Eren loses control again, they must eliminate him. Yeah, nothing says welcome like a squad trained to kill you. When they arrive, the castle is a wreck, and Levi immediately orders it to be cleaned from top to bottom. Eren learns that he's assigned to sleep in the basement, a rule enforced by the higher-ups. He's taken aback by how disciplined Levi is about everything. Later, Petra opens up to Eren, telling him that Levi wasn't always like this. He used to be a thug before joining the Scouts, and it was under Erwin Smith's guidance that he turned his life around. So he really was a delinquent, huh? Meanwhile, Mike and Erwin have a serious discussion about how critical it is to prove Eren's usefulness. Erwin, clearly valuing Mike's instincts, assures him that he'll explain the bigger picture soon. As the squad preps for their next operation, many of them are relying on second-hand reports. But deep down, they hope Eren will be the key to humanity's survival. That night, Hanji pulls Eren aside for an unusual experiment involving 2 captured titans. She's affectionately named Sunny and Bean. Despite the disturbing nature of the work, Hanji is incredibly enthusiastic, almost unnervingly so. She talks about how her perspective on titans changed after realizing how little they truly understand them. Yeah, I should warn you now, Hanji is obsessed with titans. It's bizarre, but just roll with it. Eren is fascinated and spends the entire night engrossed in learning about her experiments, though it only leaves him with even more questions than before. The following morning, a shocking discovery awaits them. Sunny and Bean have been killed. The squad is in disbelief. Someone infiltrated the area, murdered the Titans, and escaped using ODM gear. Levi makes the call. It's time to move out. The investigation will be handled by the military police. Before they go, Erwin cryptically asks Eren a chilling question. What does he truly see, and who does he believe the real enemy is? That question will matter a lot. Episode 16 opens with soldiers under investigation for unauthorized use of ODM gear. One of them is baffled. How can someone be punished for killing Titans? But another reminds him that these particular Titans were crucial for research, and their deaths are a major setback for humanity. Connie asks Annie for her thoughts. but she challenges him to think for himself. Then, surprisingly, she compliments Armin for his bravery, which is rare for her. Armin responds by praising her compassion. It's an unexpectedly wholesome moment. At Scout Regiment headquarters, Eld and Gunther start wondering if any of the new recruits will actually want to join the Scouts, given the insane risks. They ask Eren if he has anyone in mind who might sign up, but he's got no names to offer. Levi soon arrives, and they all gear up to begin patrol duties. Meanwhile, John, Connie, Armin, and Sasha are locked in a serious conversation about what lies ahead, each quietly contemplating their options. Just then, a soldier lines them up as Erwin Smith steps forward. He lays it all out, the brutal truth about life in the Scouts, high death tolls, and grim missions. Basically, they're the Suicide Squad of this world. Erwin reveals their goal, a mission to explore the basement of Eren's former home. Most of the group decides to walk away, but a core team remains: Jean, Sasha, Connie, Mikasa, Armin, Reiner, Bertolt, Ymir, and Krista. They salute Erwin, officially sealing their fate. Yep, this is our main crew. Training for the new recruits begins. Eren is surprised to see Jean among them, but what really stuns him is the news that Marco is dead. Later, Eren opens up to Mikasa and Jean about his Titan powers, admitting he once lost control and even attacked Mikasa. She brushes it off, clearly still devoted to him. As final preparations wrap up, the bells toll, signaling the start of the 57th expedition. Erwin leads the Scouts out beyond the walls, and just like that, the real mission begins. Episode 17 kicks off with the Scouts pushing into Titan territory. Early into their journey, Mikaze Zacharias detects a Titan nearby, but the support squad handles it to avoid compromising the main group's safety. Sasha watches the chaos unfold and freaks out a bit, but her leader reminds her to stay sharp and let the support team do its job. As the team moves further out, Eren recalls Gunther explaining that the support squad's reach only goes as far as an old town. Beyond that, they rely on Erwin's long-distance enemy scouting formation, a strategic setup meant to dodge Titan encounters rather than face them head-on. Once they clear the town, Erwin sends everyone into formation. Armin, Jean, and Reiner split off to their assigned positions. Armin does his best to stay calm, but jumps at every sound. Soon, he spots a red flare, a sign of Titan activity, and fires off his own to alert the others. This flare system is critical for coordinating the team and avoiding surprise attacks. But Erwin had warned them. Titans can still get close, especially in tricky terrain. That warning proves true when Sasha encounters a crawling Titan in a nearby village. She fumbles with her flare gun in panic, but her teammates jump in, distracting the Titan and luring it into a tree. Elsewhere, Armin starts worrying about the lack of flares, until a black one suddenly shoots into the sky. That's the signal for an abnormal Titan. Armin alerts the others as a Titan barrels into the right flank. Scouts Nessa and Sis take it down with some slick maneuvers, but another abnormal appears, and this one's different. It easily kills both soldiers. Armin, horrified, starts to realize this isn't a regular Titan. It's intelligent. It might even be another human in Titan form, like Eren. This mysterious Titan, which Armin dubs the female Titan, confronts him. But instead of attacking, it examines his face and then spares his life. Armin is left frozen, struggling to make sense of what just happened. Soon, it becomes clear that the female Titan led a Titan attack that decimated the right flank. Armin, Reiner, and Jean regroup, putting the pieces together. They realize she's searching for Eren, and guess that he must be at the rear of the formation. To protect him, they agree to delay her as long as possible. John goes in first, aiming for the Titan's tendons to slow her down, but she dodges and nearly catches him. Armin shouts that she already killed Eren, and this moment of hesitation gives Jean the window he needs to escape. Reiner then charges in and seems to get crushed, but he slashes his way out of her grip, barely escaping. They take a breath, relieved, but then notice the female Titan is still on the move, heading straight for the back of the formation, right where Eren is. Episode 18 kicks off with Reiner tending to Armin's wounds while subtly inspecting his ODM gear, likely trying to make sense of what just happened. After surviving the brutal clash with the female Titan, Reiner, Armin, and Jean are left with a tough problem. Only one horse between them. Jean tries calling his own, but the pressure of potentially leaving someone behind is suffocating. Just when it looks bleak, Krista appears like a literal angel, bringing two horses, one of them Jean's. Absolute legend. The group regroups and re-enters the formation, which surprisingly doesn't retreat. Instead, they pivot, following a new course. A green flare arcs into the sky. Whatever the scouts are planning, it's already in motion. Elsewhere, Levi's squad receives grim intel. The right flank has been completely decimated. Still, they push forward. Not long after, another alert. An abnormal Titan has been spotted at a new location. Soldiers rush to confront the female Titan, led by Darius Bear Walbrin, who tries to coordinate an attack. It ends in tragedy. The Titan wipes out his team, and Darius himself is slain while trying to flee and warn others. Another brave soul lost. As the formation shifts eastward, they enter a dense forest filled with towering trees. Erwin makes a decisive call. Only the center unit will advance into the forest, while the flanks, including Jean and Sasha, will defend the perimeter and stall any Titans trying to breach. Inside the trees, Eren is unsure of the plan, questioning the purpose. Levi tells him there's a reason, though he doesn't explain yet. These trees, after all, give them the vertical advantage for ODM gear use. Suddenly, the female Titan is spotted again, and Levi's squad snaps into battle mode. Petra seeks direction, while Oruo is fired up to engage. But Levi stays silent until the perfect moment, then calmly tells them to cover their ears and fires a sound flare. It's go time. In episode 19, the mission is brutally clear. Protect Eren at any cost, even if it means death. This hits Eren like a slap to the face. He thought they were just babysitting him, not laying down their lives. Watching more soldiers ride toward certain death, Eren nearly loses control, about to transform into a Titan. Petra stops him, reminding him of his vow, only transform if absolutely necessary. Levi gives him a choice, either trust them and keep moving or follow his gut and fight. Whichever path he chooses, there'll be regret. A flashback reveals an earlier test with Hanji and Levi where Eren repeatedly fails to trigger his Titan form, shaking everyone's confidence. But during a casual moment at lunch, he suddenly transforms, just from reaching for a spoon. Confused and scared, the squad draws their blades, but Levi diffuses the panic. Hanji notices the spoon resting gently in the Titan's hand, unharmed. The team realizes transformation needs intent. Just injuring himself isn't enough. In a moment of understanding, the squad members bite their own hands in solidarity, apologizing for their mistrust. Back in the present, as they race through the forest with the female Titan hot on their trail, Eren decides to put his faith in his squad. Just as she closes in, they reach a planned trap. Massive grappling hooks fly, ensnaring the Titan in place. It works. She's caught. Levi reunites with Erwin, recognizing the cost of the operation, but also its importance. Now that the female Titan is secured, they're ready to unmask whoever's inside, and finally get some answers. The mood is tense, victory laced with anxiety. Eren is itching to know who they've caught, but Oruo and Petra remind him, eyes on the mission. Levi prepares to move in, but Erwin ensures their prisoner is fully restrained, deploying even more wires. Meanwhile, on the outer edge of the forest, Krista, Nanaba, and others guard the perimeter. Sasha and Mikasa hear something, faint sounds in the distance, reminding us that the battle is far from over. They can't help but wonder what chaos is unfolding deep in the forest. Meanwhile, inside those towering trees, tension brews. Scouts begin questioning why they were left in the dark about the operation. Eren's thoughts about trust irritate Petra and Aruo, though Eld surprisingly agrees with him. It's likely Erwin kept the plan secret because he suspects there's a mole among them. Back at the female Titan's location, Hanji turns its healing powers against it, trying to trap it in place. Levi and Mike attempt to break through its skin, which is as tough as the armored Titans. Erwin, growing impatient, commands the use of explosives to force an opening. Standing atop the Titan, Levi calls out to the one inside, urging them to surrender. But instead of giving in, the female Titan lets out a piercing scream, not one of despair, but a call summoning nearby Titans to devour her. The scene turns into madness. Erwin quickly realizes they're outnumbered and calls for a retreat. He tells Levi to restock, prompting Hanji to question the move. But Erwin suspects the person inside didn't just end their life. They likely used the chaos to slip away, disguised as one of their own. The withdrawal flare goes up. Relief floods the soldiers as they anticipate finally discovering who was inside the Titan. But this is attack on Titan. Nothing ever goes smoothly. They quickly realize the signal didn't come from Levi. Gunther spots someone moving toward them and investigates, only to be killed without hesitation. And just like that, it begins again. Episode 21 kicks off with Erwin and Hanji piecing together how the female Titan managed to escape. They believe she used the same smoke tactic the colossal Titan uses to vanish. Hanji notes that Eren always feels drained after transforming, and it ruins his gear. But Erwin points out that not all shifters are as inexperienced as Eren. Honestly, I'd be a little insulted if I were him. Now Eren and his team are on the run again. Erwin warns that the only reason the Titan would still be pursuing them is if she has enough energy left to transform. And unfortunately, she does. With no choice but to flee again, Eren has to trust his squad, though every bone in him screams to fight. Eld, Petra, and Aruo face the Titan head-on in a brave but doomed attempt. One by one, she slaughters them. Eren snaps. He transforms on the spot, ready to throw down himself. Mikasa and Levi hear his Titan roar and immediately head toward the fight. At first, Eren lands blow after blow, putting up a hell of a fight. But she's simply too skilled, and her hardening ability gives her the upper hand. In a devastating moment, she tears off Eren's Titan head and yanks his human body out. Mikasa shows up just in time to witness it, and loses her mind. She attacks with full force, but it's no use. The Titan's hardening ability blocks every move. Levi has to pull her back, urging her to fall back and rethink the situation. Mikasa, though overwhelmed with fury, clings to hope that Eren is still alive inside that monster. Honestly, same. Episode 22 opens with Mikasa and Levi pushing forward, desperate to save Eren. Even though Levi believes their chances are slim with the Titan's hardened skin, they press on. The plan is simple. Mikasa creates a distraction, while Levi goes for the rescue. And let's be real, even the female Titan struggles when two Ackermans are coming at her. Levi launches a precise, relentless attack on her nape, but Mikasa, overwhelmed by emotion, disobeys orders and tries to kill the Titan herself. It backfires, and Levi is forced to step in, hurting his ankle in the process. Still, it works. Eren is saved. As they escape, Levi sees something that stops him cold. The female Titan is crying. Yeah, crying. Back with the others, Levi hands Dieter a Scout Regiment emblem in memory of his fallen comrade, completely breaking Dieter. And honestly, me too. On their way back to the walls, Eren finally regains consciousness. His first words? He asks Mikasa what happened. Seriously, this guy blacks out more than my Wi-Fi during a storm. Meanwhile, Erwin is dealing with public backlash and gearing up to face a formal inquiry at the capital. And Eren? He's about to be handed over to the government. Yeah, not exactly the kind of life you'd wish on your worst enemy. Episode 23 shifts focus to Annie. It begins with a dream, her father harshly training her, insisting she grow strong. She wakes up inside Wall Sina, safe within the military police quarters. Joining the MPs gave her a pass to live a cushy life inside humanity's most protected zone. In the Stohess district, the usual slacker energy runs high. Annie's fellow military police officers, Hitch and Marlowe, are supposed to help escort the arriving Scout Regiment convoy. Marlowe, still clinging to his ideals, is disgusted by how corrupt the MPs are. He even tries to stop a shady equipment deal, only to get beaten down. Annie and Hitch jump in to help him, which is unexpected. As the scouts enter the city, Armin quietly pulls Annie aside into an alley. He asks her for a favor: help them sneak Eren out of the capital. Jean's playing decoy as Eren in the convoy, and they need her to make it work. Annie hesitates, then finally agrees. Before leaving, she slides on a peculiar-looking ring. Something about that feels off. They make their way to an underground tunnel. Armin steps inside, but Annie refuses to follow. The empty streets, Armin's odd behavior. She senses something's wrong. Then Armin drops the bomb. He accuses Annie of being the female Titan. His evidence? She had Marco's gear on the day Sunny and Bean were killed. Armin admits he couldn't face the truth before. He didn't want to believe it. Tension explodes when Eren and Mikasa appear. They ask Annie to prove her innocence by coming underground. Instead, she bursts into laughter, unhinged, almost chilling, and confirms what they feared. She is the female Titan. Everything goes sideways. Armin fires a flare. Hidden scouts rush in to restrain her and prevent her from transforming. They try to stop her from using her teeth, but that ring? Not just for show. It's got a tiny blade. She cuts herself, too late to stop it now. An explosion of light and force rips through the district as Annie shifts into her Titan form. Mikasa yanks Armin and Eren into the tunnels below to escape the blast. Eren watches in horror, remembering a prior conversation with Erwin and Levi. Erwin had said they only had one shot left to catch the female Titan, and now it's clear. It was Annie all along. Cut to the tunnels beneath Stohess. Annie is now relentlessly pursuing them in Titan form. Eren tries to transform but freezes. The betrayal stuns him. Fighting Annie, someone he once trusted, paralyzes him emotionally. Realizing he needs time, Mikasa and Armin try to hold Annie off. Just when things are at their worst and Eren is pinned under debris, Jean abandons his disguise and jumps into the fray. Elsewhere, Erwin and Levi are surrounded by military police, accused of treason. Tension is boiling over. Back in the chaos, Annie hurls chunks of buildings everywhere, further trapping Eren. Armin attempts to bait her, allowing Jean a shot at her nape, but Annie blocks it at the last second. The battle spills into the city. Hang and Moblet descend from above, deploying nets and special equipment to stop Annie. They almost succeed. Almost. But Annie breaks free and escapes again, sparking another chase. Eren, crushed beneath rubble and near unconsciousness, hears Armin's voice in his head, reminders about sacrifice and growth. Something snaps inside him. With renewed fury, Eren pushes through the pain and transforms, shaking the entire city. As a Titan, Eren launches a surprise attack, catching Annie off guard with a devastating punch. He goes berserk, pummeling her with everything he's got. In the season finale, the chaos crashes headfirst into a church ceremony. Annie, still in Titan form, slaughters dozens of civilians without warning. Screams fill the streets as people run for their lives. But Eren? He stays locked in, focused, enraged, unrelenting. Hang and the others realize Annie is heading toward a wide-open area. Their gear won't work there. They rush to intercept her. After all, the most dangerous kind of enemy is the one who knows your every move. Your strengths, your weaknesses, everything. The clash between Eren and Annie escalates into a brutal showdown. But according to Hang, this chaos is exactly what Erwin had anticipated all along. Elsewhere, Hitch and Marlowe watch in disbelief, unable to process the destruction unraveling before them. Niall Dauk, after receiving word of the catastrophe, pins the blame squarely on Erwin, even going as far as labeling him a traitor. Erwin, calm and composed, relinquishes command without resistance, and is promptly restrained. While the battle tears through the city, Armin and Jean do everything they can to divert Annie's attention. Fueled by anger and the sting of betrayal from someone he once trusted, Eren lands a few solid blows. But Annie, with her superior combat skills, quickly gains the upper hand and nearly caves his skull in, until memories of her father stop her cold. Eren lies motionless, and Annie seizes the chance to scale the wall and escape. But Eren refuses to quit. He launches himself at her, tackling her mid-climb. She manages to shake him off and pushes onward, nearing freedom, until Mikasa swoops in from above, slicing off her fingers and forcing her back to the ground. And then Eren lets loose, unleashing a vicious, savage assault. Annie, trapped in the storm of his fury, drifts into her father's voice echoing in her mind, a voice full of desperation and love, misunderstood and alone. Just as he's about to end it, Eren sees her tears, and he stops. In an instant, Annie encases herself in crystal, a solid, unbreakable shell. She's not dead, but unreachable, frozen in a suspended state with no end in sight. When the chaos fades, Eren awakens, disheartened. They got nothing out of her. No answers, no progress. But Levi tells him to rest easy. For now, the fight is done. Erwin, despite the accusations and damage, still clings to a fragile hope. Even as the mayor of Stohess complains about the wreckage left behind, the scouts gear up for whatever lies ahead. And Eren? He does what he's always done after surviving hell. He sleeps. But then comes the most unsettling twist of all. The very wall Annie tried to climb, Wall Sina, where she left her mark during the fight. A part of it cracks. And behind that crack, a Titan stares out. A new layer of horror is revealed. The truth about the Titans is far darker than anyone imagined. And this is only the beginning. As Annie's hardened shell is hauled away, the scouts are left staring in horror at a section of Wall Sina, now broken open, revealing the chilling sight of a colossal Titan embedded within it. Hanji nearly loses it. Then, out of nowhere, Pastor Nick appears, visibly panicked, insisting that the Titan must be kept out of direct sunlight. Hold on. He knew about this? Elsewhere, Commander Erwin is informed about the Titan in the wall. Meanwhile, Marlowe and Hitch are left cleaning up the chaos from Eren and Annie's brutal clash, and they're definitely not thrilled about it. Back on top of Wall Sina, Hanji and her team scramble to conceal the exposed Titan, while Nick rattles on about his mysterious cult-like religion and dodges every question Hanji throws at him. Pushed to her limit, Hanji nearly tosses him off the edge, and honestly, he seems like he wants her to. Suddenly, an urgent report arrives. There's been a breach in Walrose. Rewind to 12 hours earlier. Down south, at a scout outpost, Sasha and Connie are bored stiff, joking about sneaking back home. Reener's like, sure, why not? But their banter is cut short by distant rumbling. Titans are inbound. Mike Zacharias immediately dispatches Thomas to inform Erwin, while Nanaba orders a retreat. There's no time for gear. The scouts split up, each squad rushing off to warn others. Sasha and Connie, familiar with the northern region, are assigned that route, but Connie realizes the Titans are heading straight toward his village. A chilling realization. Mike lets him investigate, but only after spreading the word. Amid all this, Mike decides to hold the line. And wow, he shows off some serious skill. Back in Stohess, Eren awakens from a haunting memory of his mother urging him to stay calm for Mikasa's sake. Mikasa's right there, asleep beside him. Eren briefly thinks about getting her a new scarf. But before they can share a quiet moment, Armin bursts in with urgent news. Titans are invading. Levi checks in with Erwin, ready to join the fray. Cut to Wall Rose. Mike is dominating Titans with finesse. Just as he thinks the worst is over, a towering fur-covered Titan snatches his horse. Things go downhill fast. This massive creature, the Beast Titan, tosses the horse like a toy, pinning Mike down. Then, it talks, in clear, fluent speech. It wants to know about Mike's ODM gear, but Mike's too shaken to answer. One Titan starts chomping down on Mike, and the Beast Titan swats it aside like a bug. He repeats his question, curious about whether humans and Titans speak the same language. When Mike still doesn't reply, the Beast Titan leaves, and the others devour Mike in brutal, unrelenting fashion. Elsewhere, in the Trost district, a garrison soldier rushes in with devastating news. Wall Rose has been compromised. That night, the scouts regroup in Stoes, prepping for their mission to head southwest. Eren, Mikasa, and Armin chat by a carriage, wondering how the Titans could have breached the walls. Armin brings up the fall of Shiganshina. It wasn't the wall, but the gate that fell. Then he wonders, what if the walls are made of the same hardened material Annie used? Dude's out here sounding like a fan theorist, and I'm here for it. Inside, Hanji is deep in research, glued to a microscope until Levi calls them to move. Hanji snatches a small crystal from the table and joins the team. During the ride, Armin questions why Pastor Nick is tagging along. Hanji brushes it off, says he's just another oddball in their crew. Not entirely convincing. As the caravan departs Stohes, Erwin debriefs the team. Their mission is to reach the Ermish district. Along the way, Eren learns that Nick actually knows a lot about the Titans in the walls, but the man's lips are sealed. Eren's patience wears thin, and Levi casually suggests they encourage him to talk. Hanji warns that force probably won't work. Meanwhile, Sasha reaches her hometown to deliver the warning. Along the way, she remembers a heartfelt talk with her father. She notices Titan footprints, leading straight to her village. In a nearby settlement, she finds a small Titan gnawing on a woman's leg. Her daughter watches in silent horror. Sasha strikes the Titan with an axe, but it slips from her grip. With no time left, she grabs the girl and runs. As they escape, the child reveals her mother was left behind because of her injured legs. Sasha is haunted by flashbacks of her training days, being confronted by Ymir and Krista for concealing her true self. A resolute Sasha pushes back a Titan using nothing but arrows, allowing them to escape safely. When she reunites with her father and his group, she's welcomed like a hero. Her father's pride in how strong and capable she's become is heartwarming. A rare moment of genuine wholesomeness in an otherwise dark series, and honestly, it was a much-needed breath of relief. Meanwhile, Connie is racing toward his own village, anxiety eating away at him as he fears for his family. But when he arrives, a chilling silence hangs over everything. The streets are abandoned, too quiet. At his home, he's met with a disturbing sight. A Titan is sprawled out on the roof, and its limbs are oddly underdeveloped, far too small to have gotten it up there. Reiner and Gelgar arrive and are equally baffled by how that thing even reached the rooftop. Episode 3 picks up right where the previous one left off, in the wreckage of Ragako village. Connie stands frozen by the eerie scene, the small-limbed Titan lying motionless. But what's more unsettling is the lack of any other signs of life. No corpses, no survivors, and strangely enough, no blood, despite the buildings being wrecked. Even the horses remain tied up. Then, just as the team prepares to leave, the unthinkable happens. The Titan speaks, and it says, "Welcome home." Reiner quickly snaps Connie out of his daze, reminding him of their mission. But seriously, what the hell was that? Elsewhere along Wall Rose, Nanaba's team finishes delivering warnings to nearby towns and begins scanning for the source of the breach. Ymir tries to pull Krista away from the danger, but Nanaba insists they need every available soldier. Krista accepts the risk and challenges Ymir, questioning her real reasons for joining the scouts. It's a fair point. What do we actually know about Ymir? At the eastern defense line, garrison soldiers under Captains Kits Vorman and Rico Brzezinska hold their ground using cannon fire and strategic strikes. Although their efforts are successful, Rico can't shake a bad feeling. If a bigger swarm of Titans arrives, their defenses might crumble. As night falls, Gelgar's squad still hasn't found any sign of a breach, which makes no sense. Something that large shouldn't be this hard to locate. Exhausted and out of leads, they stumble across a castle and decide to rest there and resume their search at first light. Back in Walsina, the scouts from Stohes head toward Ermic district. Hanji, ever the scientist, discusses a crystal from the female Titan with Armin, speculating that Eren's hardening ability might be the key to sealing Wall Maria. Armin suggests a nighttime expedition, when Titans are less active, and it actually sounds like a smart strategy. When they reach Ermic, a somber sight awaits them. Hordes of refugees forced from their homes by the Titan invasion. Levi uses this moment to confront Pastor Nick, demanding answers about the church's silence. The emotional scene appears to shake Nick, who finally hints that someone inside the regiment might possess knowledge about the Titans in the wall. Another hidden traitor? That's the last thing they need. While the scouts start connecting the dots, Reiner and Ymir are in a storage room, where it seems Reiner has just learned something unsettling about her. But there's no time to process it. They're suddenly under attack. A group of Titans, led by the Beast Titan, launches a surprise nighttime assault on the castle. The seasoned soldiers immediately prepare for battle, weapons drawn, while the younger recruits are told to stay back. Levi reminds Eren to keep a level head during the chaos, though let's be real, that's not exactly his strong suit. Hanji quickly organizes a path to Utgard Castle to assist with identifying the breach, intending to join the fray. At Utgard Castle, beneath the moonlight, Nanaba and the veterans get ready as the enemy closes in. Meanwhile, the Beast Titan ominously scales Wall Rose. A flashback takes us to just 2 hours earlier when the team arrived at the seemingly deserted castle. They notice subtle signs that others had been there recently, sparking doubts about whether taking shelter here was a smart call. Inside, tension fills the air. Connie can't shake the image of that Titan at his home, the one that, the more he thinks about it, looked disturbingly like his mother. Ymir cracks a joke, teasing that maybe Connie's dad was a Titan too. And, yeah, I probably shouldn't have laughed, but I did. Later, while scavenging for food, Ymir messes with Reiner after finding a can of herring. She acts like it might be their final meal, but the label's written in a foreign language, one only she can understand. Reiner catches this, and suddenly, Ymir realizes she's said too much. That moment from the last episode? Yeah, it just got a whole lot clearer. Suddenly, Titans attack in full force. The veteran scouts spring into action, slicing through the chaos, but Reiner and the newer recruits are stuck inside without any gear. Things get ugly fast when a Titan bursts through a door, lunging at Reiner and Bertholdt. Luckily, they hold their ground, using whatever they can, including a pitchfork. When another Titan closes in, Reiner ends up getting bitten, but, with help from Connie and Ymir, hurls it out the window. Meanwhile, up on the rooftop, things are getting catastrophic. The Beast Titan is chucking boulders like he's in a pitching contest, smashing scouts and destroying the stables. With limited supplies, and even less strength, the remaining scouts prepare for what might be their last stand. Nanaba and Gelgar fight with everything they've got, but it's too much. Gelgar falls, devoured by a Titan. In the midst of it all, Krista rushes to Reiner's side to help with his wounds. Ymir sees the chaos surrounding them and realizes, it's now or never. She snatches Connie's knife, turns to Krista, and tells her to live her life with pride. Then, without hesitation, she leaps from the tower, slicing her hand mid-air, triggering a massive explosion. Ymir's a Titan too? What the hell is even happening? Episode 5 opens with a flashback to a snowy mission from a few years back. During a brutal training session, Krista, Ymir, and Daz go missing. Eren wants to go looking for them immediately, but the instructor says they'll only get lost if they head out at night and insists they wait till morning. Out in the snow, Krista is dragging an unconscious Daz, doing everything she can to save him, while Ymir urges her to give up. What is Ymir's deal? She calls Krista out for always trying to play the martyr. But it goes deeper. Ymir knows Krista's secret. Turns out Krista is the illegitimate daughter of a nobleman. Yep, royalty in the scout ranks. Who would have guessed? Ymir keeps pushing Krista to let Daz go so they can survive, but when Krista refuses, Ymir shoves her into a snowdrift and transforms into a Titan, hauling Daz to safety herself. Back at base, the cadets hear a loud crash and rush outside to find Ymir returning. Daz safe in her arms. After that, Ymir shares her secret with Krista, but only on one condition. When the truth about Ymir comes out, Krista must promise to use her real name. Back at the castle, Ymir transforms again to protect Krista and the other scouts. Krista is frantic, begging Ymir not to fight alone and to save herself instead, which is kind of ironic considering everything. In a final act of defiance, Ymir brings the whole tower down, crushing the Titans underneath it. Just when things seem lost, scouts from Stohess arrive in time to clean up the rest. The battle ends with the remaining Titans wiped out, and Eren gets his first confirmed kill as a soldier. In the quiet after the storm, Krista kneels beside a gravely injured Ymir and finally reveals her true name, Historia. Ymir hears it, smiles through the pain, and passes out. Episode 6 begins under a gray sky as rain quietly falls. The scout regiment gathers on top of Wall Rose, lifting Ymir, unconscious and severely wounded, back to safety. Her limbs are missing, but she's still breathing. Eren's face tightens with concern until Kaji informs him that Ymir is recovering, thanks to her Titan healing abilities. Meanwhile, Krista, now going by her real name, Historia, discusses Ymir's Titan transformation with Hanji, who looks practically giddy at the thought of what Ymir might know about the Titans. At the same time, Reiner, visibly shaken, vents to Eren and Armin about the pressure he's under and his desire to finally go back to his hometown. But the way he keeps bringing it up, yeah, something doesn't add up. Hanji intends to investigate Connie's village, but first, the wall breach must be dealt with. However, Captain Hannes returns with baffling news. There's no breach, and no Titans were found. Confusion spreads fast. Then, out of nowhere, Reiner quietly pulls Eren aside and drops a bombshell. He's the armored Titan. And Bertholdt? He's the colossal Titan. Wait, what? You heard that right. Reiner, shockingly calm, tells Eren they're not trying to wipe out humanity anymore. Instead, he wants Eren to come with them, claiming it'll help end the Titan War. Cue the flashback. Just 12 hours earlier, the scouts and the Stohess unit discovered some chilling details. Reiner and Bertholdt are supposedly from the same town as Annie, and when Annie attacked in Titan form, she struck the right flank, intel only Reiner and Bertholdt had access to from the maps. The revelation shakes Eren and Armin to the core. Levi advises they act normal and wait for the right moment to confront them, preferably underground. But there's no time for that now. Eren outright refuses Reiner's offer, and Mikasa lunges into battle, slashing at both of them, but fails to land a kill shot. With no secrets left to hide, Reiner and Bertholdt unleash their transformations. The battlefield erupts into chaos. Reiner seizes Eren and leaps from the wall. As they plummet, Eren breaks down, betrayed by comrades he once trusted. Through tears and rage, he shifts into Titan form, ready to face them head-on. Talk about a plot twist. Episode 7 flashes back to 3 years earlier, when Eren, Armin, Reiner, and Bertholdt were training in the forest. Reiner spoke of longing for home, Bertholdt dreamed of cushy military police work, and Eren was fired up about destroying every Titan in existence. As they stood beneath moonlight on a cliff, Reiner looked at Eren with admiration, for his unbreakable resolve. Back in the present, Eren, furious, charges at Reiner in Titan form. His punch sends both of them crashing to the ground. Mikasa watches in frustration, blaming herself for not ending them earlier, while Hanji orders a tactical withdrawal as the colossal Titan swings into motion, swallowing Ymir and another scout whole. Hanji's squad attempts to strike, but Bertholdt releases an intense cloud of steam, forcing them to retreat. The plan now is to wait until he exits his Titan body for a surprise counterattack. Meanwhile, Eren is getting overwhelmed by Reiner, despite Mikasa's constant support. But then, Eren remembers his training with Annie, the grapples, the footwork. He shifts strategies, bringing Reiner down with a takedown and locking him in place. Despite Reiner's armored body, Eren finds vulnerable joints, ripping off Reiner's arm with brute force. Mikasa follows up, slicing through the unarmored tendons in his legs. Reiner is immobilized. Then, he lets out a powerful scream. Hange immediately suspects he's summoning nearby Titans, but in reality, it's a cue for Bertholdt. Suddenly, the colossal Titan begins collapsing, crashing down on both Reiner and Eren. Episode 8 kicks off with that exact moment, the colossal Titan falling hard on them. In the chaos, Bertholdt takes the opportunity to rip Eren from his nape, grabs him and an unconscious Ymir, and escapes with both, using upgraded ODM gear. Armin can only scream Eren's name helplessly, watching them disappear. Meanwhile, back in Trost, a drunken Pixis is rudely awakened by his assistant, who briefs him on the low Titan activity and possible updates from Hannes' team. Soon, Commander Erwin arrives, still feeling accomplished after capturing Annie. They briefly talk about how the higher-ups reacted to that. Then a scout bursts in, reporting the latest encounter with the armored and colossal Titans. The stakes just got higher. Back at the scene of the attack, the scouts are reeling from the devastation. Mikasa, unconscious for hours, wakes up to Armin's update. 5 hours have gone by since Eren and Ymir were taken. Many are wounded, and they're waiting on reinforcements and horses. Hannes reflects on Eren's relentless will from his childhood. He reassures the others. Eren won't give in, and he'll hold out until they get to him. Hannes also promises to join the rescue effort and do everything possible to bring Eren home. Eventually, Erwin shows up with fresh troops and equipment, ready to launch the mission. Despite her injuries, Hanga devises a plan. She suspects that Reiner and Bertholdt are hiding in the massive forest southwest of Wall Maria. The mission is set, and as expected, Eren awakens in that very forest. He's badly injured, his arms are gone, and Ymir is still unconscious beside him. Reiner and Bertholdt loom over them. Episode 9 begins with Hanga wanting to investigate Connie's village herself, but her condition prevents it. Instead, Moblit volunteers to go to Ragako and examine the Titan presence near Connie's home. Commander Erwin leads a combined force of scouts, garrison, and military police in a long-range formation headed toward the forest. Back at the enemy camp, Eren, still recovering and missing his arms, learns from Ymir that transforming is pointless right now. They're surrounded by Titans, and their bodies are still healing. Reiner announces they'll move at night when Titans are dormant, planning to return to their hometown. Though what and where that is remains a mystery. He warns that trying to escape is useless, and neither Eren nor Ymir can transform right now anyway. Eren starts to realize how much he still doesn't understand. Where did these two come from? What's their goal? Why does Ymir have Titan powers? And where do her loyalties lie? For the first time, Eren does something unexpected. He shuts down his emotions and chooses to observe instead. That's some serious growth right there. Meanwhile, the scouts are pressing forward, closing in on Reiner and Bertolt's hiding spot. Hannes reminds everyone again, Eren won't break. When they reach him, they need to stay focused and ready. Back in the forest, Reiner's behavior starts shifting. He begins speaking like a scout who just lived through yesterday's battle, talking about how they might be promoted once it's all over. Ymir catches the contradiction. She figures it out. Reiner has fractured under the weight of his double life. One side of him believes he's a loyal soldier, the other remembers he's the enemy, and neither side acknowledges the other's actions. The guilt of his betrayals, like when he let Marco get eaten by a Titan, has split him in two. Bertolt explains all of this, adding that the burden of what they've done, especially to Eren and his mother, haunts them deeply. But Eren, full of fury, offers them only one thing in return: the promise of a slow, excruciating death. Ymir shifts the topic to the mysterious Beast Titan, theorizing that it might be the real force behind the recent Titan assault, and possibly Reiner and Bertolt's only chance of returning home. As they prepare to leave with Eren and Ymir, they suddenly spot signal flares in the distance. The scouts have arrived. Episode 10 kicks off in Ragako, where Moblit inspects the wreckage of Connie's home. Among the ruins, he finds a Titan sprawled over the remains. Using a portrait of Connie's parents as reference, he's shocked to realize this Titan looks just like Connie's mother. Just, what are these Titans? Back in the forest of giant trees, Reiner and Bertolt are holding Eren and Ymir hostage. They debate their next step, planning to move their prisoners to their hometown, but the arrival of the scout regiment forces them to rethink. They question Ymir's loyalty, given her past actions, and bring up her connection to Historia, who's become increasingly valuable due to her royal bloodline. The mission? Deliver Annie, Historia, and potentially Eren, if he really is the coordinate, whatever that means. Ymir faces a difficult choice: her own survival, or protecting Historia. Before they take off, Reiner randomly suggests Bertolt finally confess his feelings to Annie, leaving Bertolt completely stunned. As Reiner lifts Eren, Eren lashes out, but lacking arms, he's quickly overpowered and choked unconscious. Bertolt and Ymir then discuss the strange fog surrounding their time as Titans, how they forgot their identities, their actions, even the people they devoured. Ymir, with genuine remorse, apologizes. Turns out she accidentally devoured one of Bertolt's friends, and only then returned to human form. There's still so much they don't understand. As the scouts close in, Reiner and Bertolt make their move. Ymir, realizing Historia may be among them, insists they wait. She's afraid others might exploit Historia before they can intervene. Reiner tries to reassure her, but emphasizes the need to prioritize their mission. Then, we dive into Ymir's haunting past. An orphan taken in by a cult, she was used as a religious symbol and given a false identity. Life improved, at the cost of others being manipulated in her name. When the truth surfaced, she was blamed, turned into a Titan via injection, and cast outside the walls. For 60 years, she wandered aimlessly, until she devoured one of Reiner and Bertolt's comrades, regaining her human form and Titan-shifting power. That led her inside the walls, where she overheard the Church's secrets and eventually enlisted in the 104th Cadet Corps. That's how she met Historia. Now, overwhelmed by her feelings for Historia, Ymir makes a bold choice. She demands they wait for her, threatening to side with the scouts and take Eren with her if they don't. Honestly, a pretty solid threat. As the scouts catch up, Ymir transforms into her Titan form. The moment Historia arrives, Ymir seizes her with her mouth, turning on the scouts. Reiner becomes the armored Titan, and with Eren and Historia in tow, they make a break for it. The scouts give chase once more. Hannes is dead set on getting Eren back no matter the cost. As the armored Titan charges through the forest, Commander Erwin quickly formulates a plan. Despite resistance from the military police, everyone mobilizes under his command, with Hannes charging ahead. Mikasa is laser-focused, slicing through anything or anyone that stands between her and Eren. Meanwhile, Ymir pulls Historia from her Titan mouth to talk. She confesses that she chose Reiner and Bertholt's side in hopes of escaping the walls and finding a better life. Historia, skeptical, questions if Ymir's truly acting on her own will. Bertholdt cuts in, saying it was Ymir's idea to bring Historia along. As danger looms closer, Ymir gets honest. She's using Historia as a ticket to safety, leveraging her bloodline. But Historia, unwavering, reassures Ymir that she still trusts her, regardless of her reasons. As the scouts launch their assault on the armored Titan, Eren stirs awake. Mikasa charges in, slicing at Ymir, preparing to take down a stunned Bertholdt. But Reiner quickly steps in to shield his comrade. Just as Mikasa is about to finish Ymir, Historia intervenes, stopping her blade and persuading Mikasa to hold off, at least for now. The tension spikes as the rest of the scout regiment arrives. Jean tries to reach out to Bertholdt, attempting to make sense of their betrayal. Emotions are raw. The pain of trust broken is written all over their faces. Finally, the pressure cracks Bertholdt. He breaks down, his voice trembling as he confesses he never meant to hurt anyone. He pleads for their understanding, saying the time spent as their comrade was the only light in his life. But when Mikasa demands Eren back, Bertholdt refuses. He can't abandon their mission now. And just when things couldn't get more intense, Commander Erwin appears, leading a herd of Titans straight toward the battlefield. Absolute madness. Despite being mauled by a Titan, losing an arm in the chaos, Erwin doesn't falter. He shouts for his troops to press forward and save Eren. Now that is a leader you'd follow into hell. The scouts charge with everything they've got. Many of them fall, but their determination never wavers. Their sacrifice is what true soldiers look like. Military police, take notes. In a desperate move, Armin tries to rattle Bertholdt by lying that Annie is being tortured. The psychological tactic works, Bertholdt snaps, giving the scouts just the window they need. Erwin seizes the moment, lunging in and freeing Eren from his captors. Mikasa swoops in, grabs Eren, and the scouts begin their retreat. Connie tries to get Historia to come with them, but she chooses to stay with Ymir instead. As they escape, Reiner hurls Titans like deadly projectiles, one of which knocks Eren and Mikasa off their horses. Then, out of the dust, emerges a horrifyingly familiar face. The smiling Titan, the very same one that devoured Eren's mother. Episode 12 opens with Eren paralyzed by the memory of that day, staring into the eyes of the Titan that changed his life forever. Reiner continues his Titan onslaught, bombarding the retreating scouts. Ymir battles furiously, furious that Erwin's gambit has ruined her chances to protect Historia. Eren and Mikasa stand helpless as the smiling Titan looms closer, until Hannes steps in, driven by the desire to finally avenge the woman he couldn't save all those years ago. Jon and Armin want to help, but they can't even get close thanks to Reiner's non-stop Titan barrage. Please, let this end well. Ymir is torn. Should she stick with the scouts or fulfill her deal with Reiner and hand over Historia? Historia herself approaches Ymir and reminds her of the very words she once spoke. To live for herself. She tells Ymir how much she's changed her, and that gives Ymir a moment of clarity. Meanwhile, Hannes is giving everything he has against the smiling Titan. He even manages to stagger it, getting it down on one knee. But it's not enough. The Titan grabs him, and right in front of Eren and Mikasa, devours him. No. Eren crumbles, laughing and crying in anguish, completely shattered by the loss and helplessness. After everything, he still can't transform. Honestly, it's a miracle he hasn't lost his mind completely. But then Mikasa, beaten and bleeding, gently reassures him. She tells him how much he means to her, thanks him for the scarf he once gave her. Her words bring him back. Eren steadies himself and vows that no matter what happens, he'll always be there. To wrap that scarf around her, again and again, for as long as she needs him. Just as Eren's injuries begin to heal, instead of transforming, he throws a punch at the smiling Titan, a move that seems utterly reckless, until it triggers something extraordinary. In a shocking twist, the surrounding Titans suddenly turn on the smiling Titan, ripping it apart instead of going after the scouts. Eren, in that moment, finally avenges his mother's brutal death. Seizing the opportunity, the scouts make a swift escape. Now it's clear. This must be the power Reiner and Bertholdt meant when they talked about the coordinate, the ability to control Titans, and Eren has it. As the realization sinks in, Reiner and Bertholdt start panicking. If Eren truly possesses this power, they're in serious danger. They try to flee, but it's too late. The Titans, now under Eren's command, begin pursuing them instead. While the scouts retreat toward Wall Rose, Ymir makes her decision. She chooses to aid Reiner and Bertolt, officially taking their side. Before turning back, she shares a final, bittersweet goodbye with Historia. Her choice stuns everyone. No one can figure out why she'd leave like that. On their way back, Armin notices Eren gazing at the sky, lost in thought. He's remembering Hannes, the man who used to play with them as kids. And yep, the tears are flowing again. Meanwhile, we jump to Shingeki, where Ymir, Reiner, and Bertolt have managed to survive the Titan onslaught. When asked why she helped them, Ymir casually calls herself an idiot, which honestly hits home. But then she reveals something deeper. Devouring their friend gave her a second chance at life, and she's just repaying the debt. Back in Trost, Erwin, Pixis, and Levi are discussing the aftermath when Hanji and Connie rush in with a chilling report. Elsewhere, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, and Jean reflect on the enormous sacrifices made just to bring Eren back. Fueled by rage and guilt, Eren vows to seal Wall Maria and make Reiner and Bertolt pay for everything. Connie and Hanji then present their findings, evidence that the Titans accompanying the Beast Titan were actually transformed villagers from Ragako. It's a theory we've seen hinted at through Ymir's memories, but hearing it confirmed shakes Levi to the core. The idea that he's been slaughtering innocent people this whole time, it's horrifying. And yet, Erwin smiles. They're finally getting closer to uncovering the truth. The season ends with one final shot. A strange, bespectacled figure climbing out of the Beast Titan's nape. And if you thought everything up to now was insane, just wait. The next seasons take things to a whole new level. What's coming will make all of this feel like a warm-up. Season 3 opens with Eren gazing out at the sea, getting lost in deep thoughts about what might exist beyond the horizon. Classic anime introspection. This ocean has always held meaning, especially because Armin used to dream about it when they were kids. But really, it's a setup for something bigger down the line. In the present, Eren and the rest of the 104th Cadet Corps are holed up in a rustic little cabin, part of a newly formed squad under Levi's leadership. Levi, being the cleanliness-obsessed soldier he is, isn't thrilled with the cabin's state, and he promptly ropes everyone into helping out with one of Hanji's latest experiments to test Eren's Titan abilities. Spoiler: the experiment flops hard. Eren's Titan form is unstable, barely holding itself together, and looks more pitiful than powerful. Clearly, he's not ready for the critical mission of sealing Wall Maria. Afterwards, they head back to Trost District for some downtime. There's quiet talk about how vital Eren and Historia are to their plans, while two mysterious figures watch from the shadows. Yikes. Meanwhile, Levi and Erwin discuss the possibility of using Historia's royal lineage to their advantage. Eren's struggling with disappointment over his failed transformation, and Connie is burning with the desire for revenge against the Beast Titan for what happened to his mom. Historia, without Ymir by her side, is going through an identity crisis, no longer putting on a cheerful act, which Eren oddly appreciates, thinking it makes her feel more genuine. Eren's weird like that. Then things get grim. Hanji breaks the news to the squad. Pastor Nick has been killed, and not just that, he was tortured beforehand. It's yet another major blow. Soon after, they're warned that the military police are closing in, planning to take Eren and Historia into custody. Levi isn't having it. He leads the group on a swift, covert escape, leaving behind zero clues. But those shadowy figures spot the escape, and one of them seems to know Levi personally. Uh-oh. The team tries to pull a switcheroo, hiding Eren and Historia in a different wagon while using decoys. But it backfires. The kidnappers snatch up Jean and Armin, who are in disguise. Thankfully, Mikasa swoops in like the badass she is and saves them. Just when it seems things are back under control, an old ghost from Levi's past appears, Kenny the Ripper, leading a squad of killers using guns with their ODM gear instead of blades. They unleash chaos on the rooftops, taking down Levi's teammate and nearly blowing his head off. The episode ends with Levi shouting that unforgettable name, Kenny. In episode 2, the intensity cranks up fast. Levi and Kenny engage in an all-out gunfight across the rooftops. Levi, dodging bullets like he's straight out of an action movie, knows he has to get out fast. Meanwhile, back at the wagon, Eren and Historia are laying low until the shooting starts. KG tries to escape with them, but Kenny's squad is relentless. They tear the roof off the wagon with grappling hooks, and in no time, Eren and Historia are exposed. Eren tries to put up a fight with a rifle, but he and Historia both get tranquilized. KG isn't so lucky. He's gunned down during the ambush. Levi, bleeding and desperate, ducks into a bar to take cover. Kenny follows with swagger, calm as ever. The two finally confront each other, sparring not just with weapons, but with words, revisiting the past, questioning motives, and setting the tone for one hell of a season. Just when Kenny thinks he has Levi trapped, Levi pulls off a classic escape. He grabs the bar owner's gun and fires, catching Kenny off guard. Then, in true Levi fashion, he hurls a chair through the window as a diversion, leaps out, grabs one of Kenny's men to use as a shield, and quickly cuts down the others mid-air. Seriously, the guy's unreal. The noise alerts his squad, who rush over to help. Meanwhile, Kenny's outside, brushing himself off. A little embarrassed he forgot bars aren't exactly weapon-free zones. Still, there's a strange sense of pride. He can't help but acknowledge how far Levi's come. Back on Levi's side, the squad is moving in to retrieve Eren and Historia. Levi warns them bluntly. They'll need to kill if they want to survive this mission, because Kenny's crew won't hesitate. Unfortunately, Jean hesitates at the worst time, and gets a gun pointed at his face. Great going, Jean. Thankfully, Armin steps up and saves him. But it's his first kill, and it hits him hard. There's no time to dwell, though. The team is outgunned, literally, so they have no choice but to retreat. Cut to the royal capital. The big shots are lounging in the throne room trying to handle the situation by the book. You know, politics and procedures. But their plan suddenly pays off when Rod Reiss notifies them he's captured both Eren and Historia. Mission accomplished. Armin, meanwhile, is struggling with what he's done. Mikasa and Levi try to comfort him in their own rough way, but they're honest. It's a turning point. He'll never be quite the same. Later, Levi puts the pressure on Demo Reeves, bargaining protection for the Trost district in exchange for information. He wants to know where Eren and Historia are being held. Levi once again proves he's got more than just fighting skills. Elsewhere, Hange delivers grim news to Erwin. Eren and Historia have been taken. And based on what Eren overheard between Ymir and Bertholdt, the plan might be to feed Eren to someone else. Back with Levi's squad, they lure in 2 military police soldiers, Ralph and Sanus, and knock them out. Levi and Hang go full interrogation mode. They mess with Sanus' head, convincing him Ralph already spilled the truth. Eventually, Sanus cracks. He spills that the Reiss family's secretly in charge, and Historia's their key. Then comes the twist. Kenny, always one step ahead, murders Demo Reeves for betraying the government, right in front of his son, who stays silent in fear. Kenny's certain Levi will come for him. It's just a matter of time. Somewhere else, Rod Reiss has an emotional reunion with Historia. He embraces her, apologizes, and tells her she's crucial to humanity's future thanks to her royal blood. Eren, gagged nearby, is forced to watch it all unfold. Episode 3 opens with Historia recounting her dark past to Levi's squad. Her mother barely acknowledged her existence, always buried in books. When young Historia once reached out for affection, her mother shoved her away and muttered that she wished she'd never been born. As twisted as it sounds, even that rejection meant something to Historia. It was the only attention she ever got. After Wall Maria fell, Historia met Rod Reiss for the first time. He said she'd live with him now. But before anything could come of it, Kenny and his goons stormed in and killed her mother, who claimed not to know her. Rod saved Historia by giving her a new identity, Krista Lentz. That's how she ended up in the Scouts. Now, Rod's being the father he never was, embracing her and saying she's special. He insists she's humanity's last hope and promises to take her back to where it all began. In the prison, Sanus is falling apart, convinced Ralph betrayed him. Hang toys with him for falling for their bluff. But even while broken, Sanus warns them. If he's out of the picture, someone else will just take his place. Hang doesn't take it well and vents their frustration violently. Levi steps in, reminding them of the bigger picture. Eren might soon be sacrificed for his Titan powers. Meanwhile, Erwin and Pixis are cooking up a rebellion. Their plan? Dismantle the corrupt system and, with Historia in their sights, the plan is to crown her as queen once they secure her. Erwin, realizing what's at stake, hands over command of the Scouts to Hang, making them the new leader of the regiment. But as the sun rises, Erwin's own troubles come knocking. The military police show up, accusing the Scouts of murdering Demo Reeves because he supposedly knew too much. Everyone gets arrested, except for Hang and Moblet, who narrowly slip away before the trap closes. Meanwhile, Eren has a quiet moment of reflection, thinking back to his father's controversial theory, that the king erased the memories of the first humans to enter the walls over a century ago, to keep them easier to control. Eren's father got too close to the truth and paid for it with his life. Now, Erwin finds himself following a similar path, facing off against a corrupt system with everything on the line. Over in the Stohess district, the heat's rising. The MPs are plastering wanted posters of the Scout regiment everywhere, and Jean, Armin, and Mikasa are slipping out of the city under the radar, heading toward their hidden woodland camp. The military police are out in full force, and Levi knows the clock's ticking. They have only a small window to act before Eren and Historia vanish deeper into Reiss-controlled territory. As they regroup and prepare their next move, Sasha suddenly hears the unmistakable sound of footsteps in the distance. Episode 4 kicks off with Hitch Dryce and Marlo Freudenberg combing the forest near Stohes on a mission to hunt down rogue scouts. They stumble across Armin, and just when they're about to detain him, Levi and Mikasa strike, quickly capturing the two MPs instead. A clean ambush. Back in Trost, the media's stirring things up. Reporters Roy and Pure question Commander Niall Dock, who keeps things vague but subtly hints at shady dealings by the Interior Police. He's especially worried about the newer ODM gear, clearly designed for fighting humans, not Titans, and fears it could be turned against them. Elsewhere, Hang is on a mission of their own, trying to convince Flegel Reeves to speak out. His father was murdered by the Interior Police, and Hang wants him to tell the truth. Flegel is terrified, understandably so, but Hang pushes him to step up and fight for justice. Back in the woods, Levi's got Hitch and Marlo disarmed and sees potential in using them to infiltrate the MPs. Hitch panics, fearing Levi's going to kill them for their involvement during the female Titan fiasco. But Levi stays calm, telling them they'll be free once things settle. Jean steps in, pretending to be the bad cop. He threatens to kill them as a loyalty test. It gets tense fast. But Marlo passes with flying colors, tossing away the knife and choosing to trust the scouts. Jean's impressed and decides they're worth bringing along. With their help, the squad breaks through a military checkpoint using clever deception and raw horsepower. Once the job's done, they send Hitch and Marlo back to avoid suspicion. Meanwhile, their prisoner from the Interior Police is about to face questioning. Back in Trost, Flegel finds himself backed into a corner by Roger from the Interior Police, who admits to killing his father for siding with the scouts. Just as things look hopeless, Flegel stands his ground. With backup from Hang and Moblet, and locals quietly watching, he turns the tables and traps Roger. Flegel steps up as the new head of the Reeves Company, vowing to defend Trost as night descends. Levi, meanwhile, interrogates an MP about Eren and Historia's location, but the guy's lips are sealed. That's when Sasha's ears pick up movement again. Trouble's coming. Jumping back a bit, Commander Niall visits Erwin in his prison cell. They talk about the trial, but more importantly, Niall gets a hint of Erwin's master plan involving Commander Pixis. It's all whispers and shadows, leaving Niall uneasy and in the dark about what's really going on. The ruling nobles think they've got everything under control. Erwin's locked up, and they're ready to execute him to keep their secrets buried. In the throne room, they're smug and self-assured, expecting Erwin's final words before they end it all. But Erwin won't go quietly. He lays out a grim scenario: civil war, chaos, and resource shortages. If Wall Rose falls and the scouts are gone. He challenges the nobles to reveal any backup plan they've got to protect humanity. Instead, they accuse him of selfish motives, claiming he's acting out of personal interest instead of for the greater good. Things are especially tense when it comes to deciding Eren Yeager's fate. Pixis keeps his distance from the scout regiment, acting composed, though it's clear the whole scenario unsettles him. Ultimately, the powers that be deem Erwin too troublesome and his offenses unforgivable. So, in classic government fashion, they opt for execution. How noble of them, right? Just as Erwin's situation seems most hopeless, Anka bursts into the throne room with urgent news. Titans have breached Walrose. Panic spreads like wildfire. Pixis springs into action, attempting to coordinate a mass evacuation. But in a jaw-dropping twist, Nobleman Oral demands the gates to Wall Sina be sealed shut, choosing civil war over confronting Titans. It's a ruthless, self-serving move that screams of desperation to hold on to power, with zero concern for innocent lives. Honestly, it's disgusting. But Niall Dock refuses to play along. He stands his ground, unwilling to close the gates. Right then, Commander Dallas Zachary marches in with troops at his side, flipping the entire situation. Turns out, the Titan attack was a brilliant ruse orchestrated by Pixis to unmask the nobles' true motives. With their selfishness now out in the open, Pixis initiates a coup d'etat. The corrupt figureheads are arrested, and a plan is set in motion to install a true leader who actually gives a damn about humanity. Erwin's chains are finally removed, but even in this moment of victory, his mind is heavy with the uncertainty of the path they've chosen. And just like that, there's no time to rest. Levi's squad is prepping for action when Hang and Moblet arrive with updates. The coup was a success, and public opinion has turned in favor of the scouts. For once, they're winning. Later, Hang drops vital intel about a grim incident involving the Rice family. The clues lead to some hidden chapel ruins, likely the location where Eren and Historia are being kept. Deep beneath the surface, inside a strange and haunting crystal chapel, Eren is shackled and gagged, helpless as Historia approaches him in ceremonial attire. Episode 5 plunges us straight into this underground prison, where Eren struggles against his restraints. Historia, trying to calm him, reveals a harsh truth. Maybe her father, Rod Rice, isn't the villain everyone made him out to be. She insists he was forced into difficult decisions, like the cover-up with Pastor Nick. That's when Rod enters the scene. He and Historia both place their hands on Eren's back, unleashing a flood of memories. But they aren't Eren's. He sees flashes of Rod's family, a Titan struggle, the chapel. Then suddenly, he's viewing it all from his younger self's eyes. It hits him. These are his father's memories. And in the most devastating reveal yet, he watches himself as a Titan devour his own father, Grisha Yeager, claiming his powers in the process. Trauma unlocked. At the same time, Historia is swept into her own wave of flashbacks. She remembers a kind girl with black hair, Frida, who once visited her on the farm, teaching her to read and urging her to be gentle and kind. Frida, it turns out, was her half-sister, and the one who erased those memories to protect her. Tragically, she was murdered along with most of Rod's family by Grisha, who took her Titan powers. Before they can process it all, Kenny arrives, breaking up the moment with news that the government has fallen. He warns them to hurry up. The scouts are closing in, then vanishes to deal with the incoming threat. Above ground in capital Mitras, Zachary isn't wasting time. He makes an example out of one of the disgraced nobles, Oral, while Pixis quietly fills Erwin in on a key detail. The Rice family and others of noble blood are immune to the Titan power that erases memories. Though Erwin and Pixis don't agree on every ideological point, they're united by one goal: saving humanity. The scouts mobilize to rescue Eren and Historia. Back with Squad Levi, they're locking in for an intense fight. Levi briefs them on Kenny's lethal talent and mysterious past, including his connection to Mikasa. She recalls a moment from her childhood, where overwhelming fear awakened something fierce inside her, a power also seen in Kenny and Levi. Meanwhile, Kenny flashes back to a conversation with his dying grandfather. He explains why their bloodline, the Ackermans, and the Oriental clan were hunted. They were immune to the king's memory tampering. As Levi's squad finally reaches the chapel and uncovers the hidden entrance, they brace themselves for what could be their deadliest confrontation yet. Inside, Cavan rallies Kenny's forces, calling them to fight with everything they've got. The battle is about to begin. Episode 7 kicks off inside the underground chapel, where Eren, Historia, and Rod Rice are gathered. Rod drops a bombshell on Historia. Her sister Frida isn't entirely gone. Her memories still linger. He pulls out a familiar syringe, the same kind Grisha Yeager used, and offers Historia a chance to relive those memories and truly connect with Frida. Meanwhile, Levi, Hanga, and their squad blast their way into the chapel. They roll in barrels filled with oil and explosives, detonating them to create a thick smokescreen. The confusion gives Levi and Mikasa a golden opportunity to ambush the anti-personnel squad. Since their opponents are built for ranged combat, the scouts quickly gain the advantage. Just as the battle intensifies, Kenny Ackerman dives into the chaos. At the same time, Rod pressures Historia to inject the serum, while Eren, bound and desperate, pleads with her not to go through with it. Rod insists the Titan power Grisha stole was meant to be hers all along. He explains that the founding Titan's hardening ability created the walls and the chapel, and its power to alter memories helped preserve peace. Hearing all of this, Kenny confronts Rod, enraged to find out that only those of Rice bloodline can truly wield that power. Feeling betrayed, Kenny nearly kills Rod, but Historia stops him, standing her ground and saying she'll take on the power, even as she sees through her father's manipulation. Intrigued by her determination, Kenny decides to provoke a Titan transformation by slicing Eren's forehead. As Rod rushes to complete the ritual, he tries one last time to hand the syringe to Historia. But Eren, still unable to transform, begs her to do it. Historia, however, makes her choice. She shatters the syringe, throws her father aside, and declares that she'll fight for humanity on her own terms. She frees Eren, despite his tearful pleas for her to consume him. Rod, in desperation, licks up the serum's remains from the floor and begins his own transformation. In Episode 8, the scouts come upon a net left behind by the fleeing interior police, trying to decide their next move. Suddenly, the blinding flash of a Titan transformation captures everyone's attention. Rod Rice has turned, and his transformation isn't normal. It's colossal, so huge, in fact, that the cavern begins crumbling from the sheer pressure. Levi quickly orders Armin and Moblet to get the injured Hang out of harm's way. Back near the ritual site, Historia continues trying to free Eren, who's still begging her to let Rod consume him and restore the Titan power to their family. She refuses. The rest of Levi's team rushes in to help Eren just in time. Meanwhile, Kenny realizes that Rod, despite all his claims, understood as little about Titans as everyone else. He calls for his squad to retreat deeper into the cavern. Levi's team, now cornered with no clear escape, weighs their options. Eren considers transforming, but worries his Titan form won't withstand the cave-in. Then, he notices a vial labeled armor. He takes a risk, crushing it in his teeth, transforming, and hoping the result will reinforce the cavern. It works. His titan hardens the walls around them, stabilizing the structure just enough to keep everyone alive. Outside, Armin, Moblet, and Hange emerge to witness the land above collapse, and from the ruins, Rod's monstrous titan emerges, crawling, massive, even larger than the colossal titan. Underground, John and Mikasa work to free Eren from his crystallized shell. Levi, observing the result, names the ability Hardening, realizing it's the same power that once formed the walls themselves. With Connie and Sasha securing an exit, the squad escapes the ruins and reunites with Erwin and the rest of the forces. Aside from Hang's injuries, the mission is a success. Now, with Rod's terrifying titan form on the move, Erwin strategizes their next step, heading to Orvud District, Rod's likely destination. As they regroup, Historia silently reflects on everything: her father's lies, her own decisions, and the path ahead. She suits up, not just as a soldier, but as a symbol. Erwin proposes her as the new queen, a figure to lead the people with truth, not fear. And for the first time, Historia is ready to stand tall in that role. Episode 9 opens with Rod Reiss, now an enormous, grotesque titan, dragging his massive body toward Orvud District. Captain Karsten of the garrison is on edge, demanding answers from Erwin about why the citizens haven't been evacuated yet. Hang steps in, explaining that if they evacuated Orvud, the Titan would simply follow the people straight to Mitras, the heavily populated capital, causing an even greater catastrophe. Faced with this dilemma, Erwin makes the tough call. They'll hold their ground in Orvud, using the district as bait to lure the Titan away from Mitras. To prepare, they initiate a practice evacuation under the pretense of a drill, complete with cannon fire. The citizens, skeptical of their government's newfound authority, whisper among themselves. At least the people still question their leaders. As dawn breaks, the garrison unleashes a barrage of cannon fire at the approaching monster. But it's clear, the shells are barely scratching it. Levi, observing the ineffective attack, mutters that Erwin's gamble could backfire badly, especially with such green troops manning the defenses. Meanwhile, Hang shows up with a bold plan involving barrels of gunpowder and special equipment, setting the stage for a desperate counterattack. During the preparations, Historia confronts Erwin about her future role, refusing to be just a puppet queen. She demands a say in shaping her own destiny. With the Titan closing in fast, the scouts brace for their final strike. They load carts with barrels of gunpowder, intending to use the Titan's extreme heat to ignite them. Armin and Sasha take the lead, firing grappling hooks to haul the explosive carts into the Titan's massive burning frame, causing it to lose its grip on the wall. Seizing the moment, Eren charges in, tossing a net packed with more gunpowder straight into the Titan's gaping mouth, triggering a devastating explosion. In the chaos, Historia dives into the fray herself, slashing away at the Titan's flesh, determined to put an end to her father once and for all. As she fights, flashes of her father's memories flood her mind, his inner battles, his regrets, solidifying her resolve. When the dust finally settles, the citizens of Orvud gather, their eyes on Historia. When they ask if she was the one who finished the Titan, she proudly claims responsibility and boldly declares herself the rightful queen. What a wild transformation for her character. Elsewhere, Kenny Ackerman lies critically wounded, reflecting on the twisted path his life has taken. Levi finds him, clutching a syringe, the same type Rod Reiss used to transform into a Titan. Back in capital Mitras, the city buzzes with excitement as preparations for Historia's coronation ceremony are underway. Meanwhile, Levi searches through the rubble beneath the ruined chapel. During the search, he's informed that Kenny has been found, leading us into a flashback of Kenny's past. Years earlier, Kenny first crossed paths with Yuri Reiss, who demonstrated the awe-inspiring might of the Titans. Though Rod wanted Kenny executed, Yuri saw something different, recognizing Kenny's Ackerman bloodline. In an unexpected twist, Yuri knelt before Kenny, begging forgiveness for the Ackermans' persecution, a gesture that left a deep mark on Kenny's heart and steered him from assassin to guardian of the royal family. The story shifts to a bittersweet moment where Kenny reunites with his sister, Kushal, in a brothel and discovers he has a nephew, Levi. "It's nice to meet you." Kenny raised Levi just enough to survive, feeding him, teaching him to fight, but never truly stepping into a father's role. Once Levi could fend for himself, Kenny disappeared from his life. We see how Kenny operated from the shadows, serving the Reiss family, ultimately leading him to the place where his journey now ends. No wonder Levi turned out the way he did. Back in the present, Kenny, clinging to life, muses about the people he knew, realizing that every one of them, no matter how powerful, was shackled by something: power, dreams, survival. He confesses to Levi that even Yuri, despite all his strength, was a slave to his own ideals. In his final moments, Kenny offers Levi the syringe, hinting at the potential for unimaginable power, before passing away. The scene shifts to the capital, where Historia is crowned queen in a grand, moving ceremony. She stands as a beacon of hope, having proven herself by slaying the Titan that was once her own father. Her coronation symbolizes not just political change, but a new era for humanity inside the walls. Far from the celebrations, Reiner Braun's defeated armored Titan lies battered among ruins, while Bertholdt and the Beast Titan plot their next move to seize the coordinate. A grim reminder that true peace remains elusive. Episode 11 kicks off a few months after Historia's coronation. Instead of commanding from a throne, she's found tending to a farm, running an orphanage, and caring for the kids. Meanwhile, Jean tries to poke fun at Eren, suggesting he's been forgotten as the hero who sealed the Trust District, but Eren doesn't take the bait. He's just genuinely happy seeing Historia living her dream. Soon after, Historia ropes the guys into helping out since daylight's fading fast. While moving supplies, Historia and Eren dive into a heavy conversation. She wonders what they'll do if they run into Reiner and Bertholdt again. Eren's answer is cold. He says he'll have to kill them. But Historia isn't one to dwell on regret. She's just content seeing the once forgotten children smiling and safe. Meanwhile, big changes are sweeping through the military. A new weapon called the Executioner from Hell has been introduced. And Hanji Zoe couldn't be more thrilled. It's designed to trap Titans and then smash a massive log onto their nape. During a test run, Eren suffers a nosebleed from overusing his hardening ability, but brushes it aside, staying laser-focused on reaching Shiganshina district and sealing the wall. Later, over dinner, Marlo Freudenberg is buzzing with excitement about the possibility of wiping out Titans entirely with their new tech. Jean, of course, meets it with a signature eye roll. Some playful teasing follows when Sasha questions why Hitch didn't try to stop Marlo from joining the Scouts, and it becomes clear Marlo is hilariously clueless about relationships. The mood turns more serious as the veterans reflect on everything they've endured. Jean stays composed around the eager new recruits, who are fired up about reclaiming Wall Maria. Meanwhile, Eren drifts into his thoughts, haunted by memories of Ymir and the grim reality of being a Titan, until Mikasa snaps him out of it. Driven by the need for answers, Eren decides it's time to talk to Keith Shadis, the former scout commander before Erwin. Keith shares his story, recounting his first encounter with Grisha Yeager outside Wall Maria. Grisha, suffering from amnesia but retaining his medical knowledge, quickly bonded with Keith and the Scouts, and later with Carla, Eren's mother. Keith confesses feeling overshadowed by Grisha's natural charisma, and views himself as a failure who wasn't meant for greatness. He reveals the gut-wrenching truth. On the day of the Titan attack, he witnessed Grisha turning Eren into a Titan so Eren could inherit his power. In a moment of regret, Keith even admits to sabotaging Eren's training equipment years ago, hoping he would quit. But Eren pushed through and proved him wrong. In the end, Keith views himself as nothing more than a bystander in the epic events unfolding around him. Hanji is furious, calling him childish, but Eren forgives him, understanding the pain and helplessness Keith carries. It's a lot to process. A true emotional gut punch. Episode 12 begins with Scout leaders Dallas Zachary and Dot Pixis examining a mysterious syringe left behind by Kenny Ackerman. Hanji Zoe is baffled by it. It's unlike anything they've ever seen before, suggesting the creators were leagues ahead in technology. Concerned that tinkering with it could ruin it, Pixis suggests saving it for a critical moment, trusting none other than Levi to make the call when the time comes. Erwin agrees, betting on Levi's sharp instincts. The scene shifts as Erwin gathers his officers, laying out the daunting mission: retake Wall Maria. But then he drops a bombshell. Grisha Yeager, Eren's father, wasn't originally from within the walls. Like Reiner and Bertholdt, he came from the outside and carried the Titan power. But he chose to fight for humanity's survival. Whatever secrets he held are hidden in the basement of his old home, and it's up to them, the Scouts, to uncover the truth. Later, Levi and Erwin have a private conversation. Levi, concerned for Erwin's condition after losing an arm, suggests Hanji should lead the charge. But Erwin, driven by memories of his father and a burning need to reveal the truth behind their world, insists on being at the front lines, even if it costs him his life. Levi, though reluctant, respects Erwin's resolve and pledges his support. The night before the operation, the mess hall explodes into chaos as soldiers brawl over meat, the tension and excitement boiling over. Eren and Jean trade punches over old grudges until Levi steps in and shuts them down. After things calm, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin step outside to share a quiet moment, reflecting on how far they've come. Eren realizes something profound. It's their bonds, their unity, that give them strength. As they spot a soldier who reminds them of Hannes, the weight of everything they've endured feels heavier than ever. At sunrise, it's finally time. The citizens of Trost, led by Flock Reeves, gather to cheer the Scouts on, an incredibly rare show of public support. With the people's hopes riding on them, the Scouts set off toward Shiganshina, ready for whatever awaits. Meanwhile, perched atop the walls of Shingeki, Reiner and Bertolt wait in silence for the battle to begin. Episode 13 kicks off with the scout regiment moving quietly under the cover of darkness, inching toward Wall Maria in hopes of reclaiming the territory they lost 5 years ago. As they carefully make their way, they stumble across a Titan dozing off, out cold thanks to the lack of moonlight. Meanwhile, Eren's struggling internally. Though he tries to mask it, Mikasa and Armin can see the tension eating at him. Ever the voice of support, Armin shares his own fears and recalls the time Eren saved him from being devoured by a Titan. Curious, he asks Eren what gave him the courage back then. Eren credits his unyielding thirst for freedom, a fire that Armin himself had sparked by telling stories of the world beyond the walls. That passion reignites Eren's resolve, fueling dreams of reaching the ocean alongside Armin by the next year. Their nostalgic exchange is cut short when a scout discovers a trail leading them directly back to their hometown, to the place where it all began. As dawn breaks, it's time to act. The scouts abandon their horses, switching to their ODM gear to ascend the wall. Erwin lays out his plan: seal both Shigenshiна's inner and outer gates to trap any Titans lurking within and block outside reinforcements. Disguised under hoods to conceal their identities, they scale the wall. Seeing his hometown again floods Eren with emotion, but Levi quickly grounds him, urging focus. Hang, sensing something odd about the absence of Titans, fires a green flare to signal their arrival. Without hesitation, Eren leaps off the wall, transforming into his Titan form and successfully sealing the outer gate. Mikasa swoops in to retrieve him afterward, handing him her cloak. With the outer gate secured, they set sights on the inner one, but Levi reminds Eren this is only the beginning. Reiner and Bertolt still loom as threats. If they aren't dealt with, any defenses could be shattered. Meanwhile, Armin notices signs of a recent camp atop the wall, cooking gear and black tea left behind, the teapot still cold. It's clear their enemies had time to prepare and flee, suggesting more foes are hiding. Erwin entrusts Armin with locating them. Trusting his instincts, Armin hypothesizes the enemy might be concealed within the walls themselves. His hunch proves right when a scout discovers a hollow spot just as Reiner bursts out and kills him. Levi ambushes Reiner and nearly kills him in a flash, but doesn't land the final blow. Amidst the chaos, Erwin shouts orders, when suddenly, the Beast Titan appears, with an army of Titans at his back. With a powerful throw, the Beast Titan hurls a boulder, sealing the inner gate and trapping the scouts' horses inside. Erwin knows instantly, this is it. Every sacrifice, every battle has led to this moment, the final fight. Episode 14 picks up with the Beast Titan and his colossal forces assembling outside Shigenshi나, ready to bring the battle to the scouts, who are perched atop the walls, waiting. Meanwhile, Reiner, now in his armored Titan form, starts scaling the wall, moving with a disturbing spider-like agility. Eren, growing restless, wonders why Erwin hasn't launched an attack yet. Hange explains that Erwin is holding back, carefully studying enemy movements, suspecting they're planning something. Erwin's sharp eyes catch sight of an odd quadruped Titan carrying cargo, clearly smarter than the others. He suspects this Titan might have been the one acting as their scout. Suddenly, the Beast Titan lets out a thunderous roar, sending waves of smaller Titans charging toward the wall. Their mission: wipe out the horses, cutting off the scouts' only escape route. Erwin immediately sees through the plan: capture Eren by trapping the scouts first. Tension mounts as the armored Titan draws closer. Still, Bertolt remains missing. Acting swiftly, Erwin orders the squads to regroup at the gate, preparing to unleash their newest weapon: the Thunder Spears, specifically designed to tear through the armored Titan's defenses. He pulls Levi and Armin aside, assigning Levi to guard the horses, and sees an opening to take down the Beast Titan if one arises. Now, on top of the wall, Reiner surveys the battlefield, the chaos, the vulnerable horses, Erwin standing seemingly alone. He's tempted to make a move on Erwin, but refocuses when he spots Eren's Titan causing havoc in the streets below. He wrestles with the decision: stick to the plan or chase Eren. Earlier, Armin had passed along Erwin's strategy to Hang: use Eren as bait. Though Mikasa remains skeptical, Hang assures her that even if Reiner doesn't fall for it, the disruption could shatter their enemy's coordination. On the ground, Eren gears up for a head-on clash with Reiner, recalling his previous victory and steeling himself with hardened fists. His first punch lands hard, cracking Reiner's armor. Outside the district, newer recruits scramble to move the horses to safety, while Levi cuts down the charging Titans, keeping the enemy at bay. Watching from above, Erwin reflects somberly on the path that led him here. From a boy obsessed with the mysteries beyond the walls, to a commander burdened by the deaths of countless comrades. His unwavering drive to uncover the truth hidden in Grisha Yeager's basement still burns, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, the fierce battle between Eren and Reiner rages on. Eren's confidence swells, a little too much, while Mikasa fights the urge to jump in immediately. Hang holds her back, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash their secret weapon, the Thunder Spears. When they attack, it's explosive. Hang and Mikasa blind Reiner with a precision strike to his eyes. Then, the others follow up with a brutal barrage, hammering his armored body. As they ready for a second strike, Connie and Sasha hesitate, conflicted over attacking their former friend. Jean, stepping up as the leader they need, rallies them, pushing emotions aside. They rain Thunder Spears into Reiner's nape. Just as he's about to roar out, the charges detonate in a brilliant, devastating blast. Months earlier, during the desperate battle for Trost, Reiner and Bertolt anxiously watch as Eren Yeager struggles to move a massive boulder to seal the breach. They worry that Eren might get devoured before they can uncover the truth about him. Reiner even debates whether he should reveal his Titan form to intervene if necessary. Despite the danger of Eren potentially ruining all their hard work, Reiner feels a glimmer of hope. They might finally get some answers after 5 long years. While they're talking, Marco accidentally stumbles upon them and catches bits of their suspicious conversation about Titans and breaches. Naturally, Marco questions what they mean. Reiner tries to play it off as a joke, and Marco walks away. But he's already suspicious, piecing together troubling thoughts about Eren's Titan powers and the true nature of the Colossal Titan. As Marco begins connecting the dots, Reiner suddenly attacks him, pinning him down. Annie Leonhardt soon joins them. Reiner hurriedly explains that Marco overheard too much. Annie, though hesitant, removes Marco's ODM gear after Reiner pressures her, questioning her loyalty and demanding she prove her detachment from humanity. Though reluctant and visibly distressed, Annie obeys, and the warriors abandon Marco to be devoured by a Titan. In a chilling moment, Reiner reverts to his soldier mindset, asking in confusion why Marco is being eaten. Fast forward to months later, atop the wall at Shingeki. Reiner, Bertolt, and Zeke, the Beast Titan, await the scout regiment's arrival. Zeke reassures them about Annie's safety and questions their resolve. As the scouts close in, Reiner and Bertolt prepare for combat, discussing their strategies and roles. Reiner, honoring a promise to Emir, focuses on protecting Krista, while Bertolt, haunted by the memory of Marco, steels himself to bring this battle to an end. Cutting back to the present, the scouts think they've won, until Reiner lets out a piercing scream. This is the signal. The Beast Titan launches a barrel containing Bertolt over the wall. Bertolt checks on Reiner while the scouts fall back in confusion. Armin makes one last desperate attempt to negotiate, but Bertolt, cold and determined, declares he's set on annihilating humanity within the walls. Even when Armin tries to guilt him using Annie's situation, Bertolt isn't swayed. He's learned his lesson. Mikasa attempts to ambush him, but Bertolt evades effortlessly. Meanwhile, Reiner hides inside his Titan body to shield himself from what's coming. Bertolt, ready to end it all, transforms, bringing forth the devastating power of the Colossal Titan. Now towering over Shingeki, Bertolt's Titan rains destruction, hurling burning houses like toys, trying to crush the scouts. Mikasa, Armin, Jean, Connie, Sasha, and Eren fear the worst, thinking Hanga's squad has been wiped out by the blast. Meanwhile, Erwin and Levi observe from a distance, waiting for the Beast Titan to strike. Things are spiraling fast. Episode 16 kicks off with the Colossal Titan rampaging, debris falling everywhere. Mikasa notices that Bertolt hasn't pinpointed their position yet. Connie and Sasha look to Armin for a plan, but he's frozen, overwhelmed. Shaken, Armin asks Jean to take command, a heavy disappointment to the others. Jean quickly steps up, ordering everyone to head toward the river, using Eren's Titan as transport to conserve gas. Outside the district, Dirk reports to Levi that they've cleared most of the smaller Titans, but the Beast Titan remains eerily still, highly unusual behavior. Levi grows suspicious about Hang's team after the explosion. That's when the Beast Titan starts pitching boulders like a twisted baseball game. The first throw is brutal, smashing buildings, tearing through scouts, filling the air with bloody mist. Levi tries to dodge the chaos, but the situation deteriorates fast. Erwin joins Levi, updating him grimly. The front lines are gone, destroyed by the Beast Titan's assault. With the Colossal Titan blocking the escape, they're trapped. Realizing that the Beast Titan is deliberately corralling them into a death zone, Erwin faces a grim reality. The only forces left are fresh recruits, Levi, and himself. Levi asks if Erwin has a plan, but Erwin hesitates. Meanwhile, back inside Shingeki, Jean tries to lure Bertolt using Eren's Titan. Eren roars at Bertolt, but he barely reacts, just keeps marching toward the wall. Jean orders Eren to attack, but Bertolt's intense steam defense makes it almost impossible. Eren tries grabbing Bertolt's foot, but is swatted away effortlessly. Mikasa watches, terrified for Eren, who lies motionless after being knocked away. Jean tries to keep the team together, coordinating another attack, but Bertolt counters with a blast of searing steam, injuring Mikasa too. She turns to Armin again, pleading for a plan, but before he can answer, they spot the armored titan advancing toward them. Meanwhile, outside, the beast titan continues hurling rocks like deadly missiles. Levi suggests retreating, but Erwin refuses. He has a plan, though it demands the ultimate price. He acknowledges that he might die without ever uncovering the secrets hidden in Grisha Yeager's basement. In a powerful moment, Erwin tells Levi he must abandon his dream. Levi, stoic as ever, urges Erwin to lead the charge into hell, while he himself targets the Beast Titan. Moved, Erwin accepts. The Beast Titan notices the signal flares and is stunned to see the scouts charging at him so fearlessly. He hadn't expected such recklessness. As the scouts ride headlong into destruction, firing flares to disrupt his aim, Levi stealthily approaches, using fallen titans as cover. The bombardment is merciless. One recruit is decapitated by a flying rock. Erwin takes a direct hit and falls from his horse, the cost of their final gamble clear as blood fills the air. Episode 17 opens with Flock panicking as Erwin is thrown from his horse during their desperate charge at the Beast Titan. Inside the Beast Titan, Zeke is deep in his thoughts, stewing over how King Rice ruined everything by erasing humanity's memories, trapping them in a never-ending cycle of mistakes. As Zeke readies another volley of boulders to unleash on the scouts, he catches himself getting overly emotional, a trait that reminds him of his father, something he clearly resents. Meanwhile, Marlo is lost in thoughts about Hitch, probably imagining her still fast asleep somewhere safe. But before he can snap back to reality, he's struck down by a flying rock, ending his story in an instant. Zeke cheers over the carnage as his attack wipes out Marlo and countless other scouts. Yet a few survivors manage to fire off signal flares, enraging Zeke even further. Furious, he hurls more stones, finishing off even more of the dwindling forces. It's absolutely savage. With most of the scouts annihilated, Zeke turns his attention to the battlefield, only to realize that all the titans he brought with him have been wiped out. It dawns on him that the scouts' assault was just a distraction, a ploy to buy time. Right then, Levi bursts through the smoke like a demon unleashed, striking without mercy. Zeke tries to protect his weak spot, but Levi is relentless, carving him apart and yanking him from his titan form, even jamming a blade into his mouth. Just when Levi is about to finish the job, considering even using the Titan Serum to pass Zeke's powers to a dying scout, hopefully Erwin, the cart titan crashes in and rescues Zeke, dragging him away. Levi is left seething, frustrated at his failure to keep his promise to Erwin. Elsewhere, Flock stumbles through the carnage, dazed and hollow-eyed, surrounded by the fallen scouts from their suicidal charge. Back in Shiganshina, Jean rallies the surviving scouts to lure the colossal titan, Bertolt, away from the walls. As Bertolt's titan form visibly shrinks, Armin quickly pieces together a risky plan. He rushes to wake Eren, who finally stirs. Jean and the others engage Reiner to distract him, but Reiner ignores them, laser-focused on reaching Eren. Mikasa isn't having it, though. She strikes Reiner from behind with a thunder spear, insisting they must finish him now. Meanwhile, Armin shares his plan with Eren, warning him that if it succeeds, they might never see the ocean together. Eren gets up to confront Bertolt, only to slip and fall from the wall, immobilized. While Mikasa and the team prepare to use their last 3 thunder spears against Reiner, Sasha suffers a grave injury, causing her attack to miss. At the same time, Armin faces Bertolt head-on, distracting him just long enough for Eren to harden and fake being knocked out. With Bertolt lowering his guard, Eren, now back in human form, ambushes him and incapacitates him. Meanwhile, things look grim for Mikasa's group, until Hank arrives out of nowhere, striking Reiner's jaw with a spear, forcing his mouth open so Mikasa can deliver the killing blow. Back with Eren, the victory over Bertolt comes at a heartbreaking price. Armin, burned beyond recognition from the colossal titan's heat, lies dying. As Eren stands over Armin's scorched body, memories of their first meeting flood back, and he declares Armin a greater hero than anyone. Episode 18 picks up with Eren still standing beside Armin's charred body, stunned and desperate, knowing deep down that Armin's gamble was their only chance. Suddenly, the cart titan appears, carrying Zeke. Wasting no time, Eren seizes the unconscious Bertolt as a hostage and faces off against them. Zeke tries to mess with Eren's head, claiming they're both victims of Grisha Yeager's manipulation. Eren quickly catches on. Zeke must be related to his father. The resemblance is too strong to ignore. Before Zeke can say more, Levi appears, having wiped out the remaining titans. Realizing he's outmatched, Zeke calls the encounter a draw and retreats with the cart titan, shouting that he'll return one day to save Eren. What does this guy even want? As Eren prepares to hand Bertolt over to Levi to give chase, he hears something. Armin, gasping for breath. He's alive. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Hanga is interrogating a barely conscious Reiner, trying to decide whether to use the Titan serum to take his powers, or save a dying comrade. As she debates, Mikasa rushes to check on Eren and Armin. When Mikasa arrives, she finds Eren desperately trying to keep Armin alive, begging Levi to use the injection on him. But just as Levi is about to make the call, Floch appears, carrying a barely alive Erwin. Now the impossible choice looms: save Erwin, the commander who could change humanity's fate, or Armin, the visionary strategist who just gave everything for their victory. Mikasa draws her blade in protest. Eren argues passionately that Armin's brilliance is irreplaceable, but Levi responds by knocking Eren aside. Mikasa holds Levi at sword point, ready to fight for Armin's life. Then Floch steps in, making the case for Erwin. Not out of sentiment, but because they owe it to all the fallen scouts. Mikasa is seconds from striking him down when Hanga intervenes, stopping her. After painful deliberation, Hanga convinces them that Erwin must be the one they save. A devastated Mikasa and Eren are forced to stand down. But as Levi prepares to inject Erwin, the commander, lost in fevered dreams, raises his hand like a curious child in school, asking about the world beyond the walls. That moment decides it. Levi realizes Erwin has fought enough. He lets him go. Meanwhile, Bertolt awakens just in time to see the newly transformed Armin towering above him. Despite his desperate screams for Annie and Reiner, there's no rescue coming. When the dust settles, Levi and Hang sit quietly beside Erwin's body, mourning his sacrifice. The episode closes with the young scouts gathering around Armin, newly reborn from his Titan transformation, alive, but forever changed. In this episode of Attack on Titan, Armin jolts awake from a haunting dream where he witnesses a colossal Titan sobbing. Heavy stuff. He comes to his senses atop Wall Maria, alongside Sasha, who's badly wounded. Still disoriented, Armin is brought up to speed by Levi and Eren. The scout regiment has been decimated, leaving only 9 survivors. The weight of the situation crashes down on him as he learns that not only did he receive the final Titan serum, but he also devoured Bertolt, a grim truth that's hard to swallow. Pun fully intended. Levi explains that Eren and Mikasa fought desperately to save him, almost sparking a civil war among the scouts. While Hange wants to reprimand them, Levi insists it was his decision to let Erwin die and grant Armin the Titan power. Now, Armin carries the immense burden of inheriting both a life and a Titan's strength. With tensions somewhat settled, Eren, Mikasa, Levi, and Hang set off toward Eren's childhood home, determined to uncover the secrets hidden in Grisha Yeager's basement. Their journey stirs bittersweet memories of simpler days from their youth. Upon reaching Eren's destroyed house, they clear away the rubble to access the basement. At first glance, it appears disappointingly ordinary, until Mikasa discovers a keyhole in Grisha's desk. Using Eren's key, they unlock a secret drawer containing 3 mysterious books. Meanwhile, in the Trost district, Nile Doc reflects on Erwin's unwavering belief that the government was hiding something monumental. As news of the scouts' success in reclaiming Wall Maria spreads, the people celebrate their victory. Back in the basement, the group examines a photograph. Not a hand-drawn picture, but a genuine photograph. A concept previously unknown inside the walls. Grisha's notes reveal that beyond the walls, humanity still thrives, shattering everything the people within the walls believed. A flashback reveals a young Grisha and his sister Faye, brimming with excitement to witness an airship. Ignoring boundaries, they venture beyond the walls where they're forbidden to go. Episode 20 picks up this flashback. Grisha and Faye sneak off to see the airship, but are intercepted by men who hurl slurs, calling them Devil Blood and Eldians in a clearly racist tone. This moment marks a pivotal shift in Attack on Titan. After getting caught, Grisha endures a beating to protect his family's reputation. Tragically, while he suffers the punishment, Faye is supposedly sent home. But instead, she is brutally murdered. This traumatic loss ignites a deep-seated hatred within Grisha against the oppressive Marleyan regime. As he grows, Grisha is taught the legend of Ymir Fritz, the first wielder of Titan power, by his father. Ymir's story, of a deal with the devil and her powers splitting into 9 Titans after her death, forms the foundation of Eldia's empire, which ruled for nearly 1,700 years. Marley eventually overthrows Eldia by seizing 7 Titans, leading to a brutal war. The defeated Eldian king retreats to Paradise Island, building the 3 walls that become the setting for our story. Grisha, unlike his submissive father, seethes with rage against Marley, especially after uncovering the truth behind Faye's death from a Marleyan informant. His anger propels him into joining the Eldian Restorationists, a group fighting to reclaim their true history, the history of a once mighty people betrayed and demonized. Grisha eventually marries Dina Fritz, a descendant of Ymir herself, and they have a son, Zeke, the future Beast Titan. Hoping to use Zeke to further their cause, Grisha is devastated when Zeke betrays them to Marley, choosing to protect his grandparents. This leads to Grisha's arrest and torture. Deemed irredeemable, Grisha is exiled to Paradise Island, destined to become a mindless Titan. There, he reunites with two haunting figures, the officer who once brutalized him as a child, and the man responsible for his sister's death. Grisha is forced to watch as his comrades are turned into Titans, including Dina, who horrifyingly becomes the smiling Titan that later kills Eren's mother. But just when all hope seems lost, Kruger, the very officer who beat Grisha, reveals himself as the Owl, a secret agent aiding the Restorationists. Kruger transforms into a Titan, annihilating a Marleyan ship and turning the tide. Episode 21 begins with Kruger, now revealed as Eren Kruger, unleashing his Titan power against Marley's forces. Shifting back into human form, he cuts Grisha free and finally explains who he truly is. An Eldian spy carrying one of the 9 Titans, hidden under a false identity with help from a loyal doctor. When Grisha asks why Kruger didn't save Dina and the others, Kruger admits to committing terrible acts against his own people, all in pursuit of Eldia's freedom. In a flashback, Kruger recounts witnessing his family's slaughter during an earlier Eldian rebellion, a memory that fueled his lifelong vendetta against Marley. Now, he tasks Grisha with a grim mission: infiltrate the walls and reclaim the founding Titan. To do so, Grisha must inherit Kruger's Titan by eating him. Grisha questions why Kruger can't complete the mission himself, but Kruger reveals the curse of Ymir. Every Titan wielder dies 13 years after inheriting their power, and his time is up. In the present, Eren, piecing together memories from his father, explains to Armin that all subjects of Ymir are connected through unseen paths leading to the coordinate, the founding Titan. Mikasa, heartbroken, struggles to accept that Armin only has 13 years left to live, while Eren carries the crushing weight of devouring his own father. Back in the past, Grisha, shattered by the heavy price of freedom, laments ever taking his sister beyond the wall. But Kruger insists he has no choice. The chain of events was already set in motion. Every Titan has a name, Kruger says. His Titan, the one Grisha, and now Eren, inherits, is called the Attack Titan. Back in the present, Eren solemnly repeats, "Attack Titan," just as Levi and Hang arrive to release him and Mikasa from their punishment for defying orders during the Battle of Shiganshina. Meanwhile, Historia reads a letter from Ymir, taken from Reiner. Ymir, facing her end, writes that her only regret is never being able to marry Historia, a confession that brings her to tears. Later, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin meet with Historia, awkwardly addressing her as Queen, though she quickly asks them to drop the formality. In a high-level meeting with the military's senior officers, Eren shares the shocking truths unearthed from Grisha's basement, the existence of Marley, the global plot to eradicate Eldians, and the real history behind the Titans. But Eren withholds one critical secret. To truly wield the founding Titan's power, he would need someone of royal blood, a fact he hides, fearing for Historia's safety. As Kruger prepares to pass the Attack Titan to Grisha, he urges him to start a new family inside the walls. He adds cryptically that Grisha must complete his mission to save Armin and Mikasa. Confused, Grisha asks who they are, and Kruger admits he doesn't know, suggesting the Attack Titan doesn't just glimpse the past, but the future as well. The final episode of Season 3 picks up right after the massive info dump from Grisha Yeager's journals. Everyone's trying to process the truth, but it's chaos. Inside the military, some leaders panic, wondering if it might be better to hide the truth from the public to avoid unrest. But Pixis steps in. He says they can't repeat the mistakes of the old kings. The people deserve to know everything. Queen Historia agrees. She decides that if everyone's going to share the same fate, then they should face it together, honestly. Once the truth is announced, the reaction inside the walls is explosive. Some people fall into denial, others are terrified, and some think it's just a conspiracy theory. Meanwhile, Hanji and Levi meet with reporters Roy and Piore. Roy questions the scout regiment's findings, but Hanji reassures him. This isn't speculation. It's real. At the same time, a ceremony is held to honor the scouts who survived. Hitch appears, remembering Marlowe and saying he died bravely. But Flosh, who's bitter and brutally honest, says Marlowe probably died with regrets. Hitch is devastated by his words. Floch doesn't stop there. He turns to Armin, accusing him of being the wrong choice, saying Erwin should have been saved instead. This sets off Eren, who steps in to defend Armin. Flosh fires back, calling Eren arrogant for always thinking he's right. Jean has to step in to cool everyone down, reminding them that now isn't the time for division. Despite all the tension, the ceremony moves forward. Each surviving scout receives a medal from Historia. When it's Eren's turn, he kisses Historia's hand, and in that instant, he's hit by another vision. A memory from his father's past. Grisha, pleading with the Rice family to stop the Titans. The weight of everything crashes down on him. Time passes. The military finally clears the Titans inside Wall Maria. A year later, humanity stands ready to venture beyond the walls for the first time in over a century. When the scouts step outside, the world is different. Most of the Titans are gone. They find one, a frail, unmoving Titan, and realize it was once one of their own. They leave it behind and move forward. Finally, they reach it, the sea, an endless, shimmering expanse of water stretching beyond the horizon. It's a dream come true for Armin, something he always wanted to see. Everyone stands there, overwhelmed. But while others celebrate, Eren stares into the distance. He asks the question that hangs heavy over them all. If we kill all our enemies across the sea, will we finally be free? And the answer to that question will change everything.